The following live broadcast is rated ESV PG. Well, because we talk about all kinds of shit on here, so be ready. Hello, everybody. On tonight's show, we're going to be talking with several people out there about the issues of growing up gay, not being able to come out when you want to, different ideas and thoughts people have about that process. Is it a choice? Is it not a choice? We're going to talk to the people who have experienced, the people who have lived with those who have experienced it, all live with you coming up next. You guys all ready to do this? That sounds like cool. That's so gay. You fucking faggot. You lesbo. You dyke. Whatever you want to call it. All these words make it some of the worst atmospheres that we as people can grow up in. Especially if you're one of the people that is around a group of friends that does this consistently all the time without hesitation, like it's a joke, like it's funny. But sadly, usually a couple of the members of your group that is always having this funny joking going around that they think is so humorous is damaging and hurting the others inside. They see how their friends view it, so they feel they have to hide themselves from who they really are. It's an experience nobody should ever have to go through in their entire life, but these people do through no fault of their own. Hi, I'm Keith Litfin for Ear, Shoulder, Voice. Welcome to our show. Today's topic is growing up gay. We're going to be talking with people who, some have recently come out of the closet, some have not yet, some know people who ever haven't, and what the experience was like for them. It's very difficult, but they've all got stories to share because everybody out there watching, you're not alone. And the truth is, the majority of people have had these thoughts or entertained these thoughts one way or another at some point in their lifetime. But they can never talk about it, they can never say anything, and we're here to do exactly that. So don't forget, while you're here, to like, share, subscribe, and follow Ear, Shoulder, Voice on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. We're on all those. You can call in live during the show just by going to earshouldervoice.com/join, and you can be on this panel with us via call-in, via audio, or video. It's up to you. Other than that, we don't have a show without our panel, and I said we're going to talk to a lot of them, so we should probably bring them out. All right, our first panelist tonight, of course, we love her, we miss her. She's back, as, of course, Bill first said already on here. Lenny, how you doing? Well, I'm going to say the same thing. Lenny, how you doing?
I'm great. I'm so happy to be back home.
I'm so happy to have you back home. It's been a very, very long time.
I know.
Since you were able to. Every time you tried to get on the show, you couldn't as well, but now you finally can.
I know.
And you've got a working internet. You're home. You look comfortable. You look happy.
Yep.
It's so good to see you.
Yeah.
So how has it been? How was your trip in Florida?
When I got settled, it was great, and then the trip home was kind of like hell on wheels. We'll say that. too many things occurring while I went home, while I was on my drive. Almost got in an accident, and then hello.
You're popular.
Well, I missed everybody, so I'm so happy. I'm so happy to be back, and really happy to be involved in this topic.
Sounds back now, so I think we're good. And Lenny, how you doing? All right, so we're all good with everybody on there. Let's bring our next panelist. Please welcome Gail Marie. Gail Marie, how you doing?
Hello, I'm good. I'm so excited to be here. I think this is my third or fourth show. I'm not very good at keeping track.
I think it's your fourth show. I think it's the fourth show you've done with us. You planned on doing this show a while back, and we had to move it because of other events that were going on at the time. So we're really glad we got to get you back on here. So you definitely relate to the topic. Why were you so pumped to do this show? What do you think?
I came out yesterday as a lesbian bisexual woman. A lesbian demisexual woman. See, I'm so excited. I just can't use the right words. And that means different things to different people, and people come out, at different times in their lives. And I was so excited to finally be my true self, and I can't wait to talk about it more here today.
We're
So,
definitely going to talk more about that coming up.
Yeah.
thank you.
Our next panelist, please welcome one of our special guests we have. His first time ever on the show. Please welcome Ryan. Ryan, what's going on?
Hi. Hi, Ryan.
Hello. How are y'all doing?
Great.
Good.
We're doing
Thanks for having me on.
absolutely amazing.
Great.
We're doing absolutely amazing out there. So, Ryan, you were a surprise guest on here. We're really glad to have you. So, what is your relation to this topic?
Oh, well, I came out to myself about 5 years ago. It was a process. And then out to my family just a few years shortly after. So I feel a bit new still, but it's funny how fast you can get so experienced, you know.
So okay. So Ryan, you said you came out to yourself. What does that really mean? That, like, you just didn't really know, or you were confused, or?
I think I knew when I was a kid, but sexuality was never really a part of it. It was more so how I acted and what I liked, what I enjoyed to share. I liked to dance. You know, I was a choreographer, for God's sake, you know. So
Everything was there. Everything was there.
7-year-old choreographer with nowhere to go, you know. So
Right.
I think it was like middle school, high school. That's when I have to retrain myself, and I think I had to unlearn who myself was, you know, just in order to kind of fit in. And I was still feeling eccentric, but I was definitely a straight man first. And yeah.
I know for a fact women can fuck you up, so that can. It's definitely made me question some of my decisions in life. I'll tell you that right now. And we're no better. Just ask Lenny, because I'm sure Lenny knows men can fuck you up just as much.
Exactly. Yep.
All right, we're going to bring on our next panelist, our final panelist tonight. Please welcome back the lovely, the beautiful Elena. How you doing?
Hi,
Good,
Elena.
how are you?
Hi, Elena.
Absolutely amazing. You were one of our panelists that last minute wanted to jump on the show. I'm very happy you did. What was your interest in this topic?
I mean, I grew up with a lot of really close people to me that are in the LGBTQ community. So just growing up close to them, being really good friends with people in the community. And then I'm also bisexual. So there's that.
So we've got a very rounded panel here. It's like, Lenny, you're like in the center of our rainbow if you really pay attention right now. It's upside down, but you're kind of in the center there. And we're really happy to have you doing that. But I'm going to hit right up. I want to ask, what's with the alphabet? This is serious, because I've always wondered, why do they keep adding letters? Why is there so much to the alphabet? What is the point of it? Isn't LGB, and I'll take LGBT as well, isn't that all encompassing?
Well, I don't know all the answers. Obviously, none of us do. But I think part of it is being more inclusive is a good thing. So there's people who don't know exactly what they are, or they might be on a spectrum, but they don't know what to call themselves. So some people just call themselves queer if they don't want to give a specific term to what they are. And then I don't know if there's more letters beyond that, but I think, being able to be more inclusive is definitely a good thing.
I mean, it is good to include everybody out there. I've always wondered where the exclusion came from. I'm one of the oddballs here because, like I said, I'm open to every sexuality in every way. I don't care. If I like you, I will eventually probably be attracted to you, but I don't physically find myself attracted to either sex on there. Bill wants to know, why did they add the Q?
Inclusivity.
It was just for queer. Now, is that queer? That's just queer, right?
Or questioning.
Questioning.
Sometimes it means questioning, I think. So.
Okay, that makes sense. Because I didn't understand it either. I didn't understand when it first came out how queer was a sexuality, and I'm always willing to learn. I'm sure a lot of people are, but because I think either lesbian, gay, or bisexual, I guess I could say what I started to say was that I never felt excluded because of that, because I was other or I was questioning things. I never felt not part of the group. Did either of you, or all three of you, did any of you feel that you weren't part of the group? Did you ever feel personally singled out by those terms?
I personally didn't. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, I did. It wasn't until the Q came up that I found a way to kind of get out of the shell that I created for myself,
Okay.
being closeted for so long, and even believing myself to not be gay at all. Like, it was a crazy fog that I had developed for myself and around myself. So when queer came out and questioning, I think that offers an idea of questioning society and questioning what being a man is and what being a woman is, and do you need to, really walk those lines. And it isn't until you start questioning that you start kind of, developing a sense of who you are. So yeah, Q for me was a way for me to just kind of peek my head out of the closet. And then after that, I was able to kind of play with other labels. I think it's really just about creating more language.
Right.
And more language offers more identity and more truth. And it depends on the language that we use.
Right.
Okay, I can understand that. I never actually knew anybody that did affect. Go ahead, Elena.
What? No,
Or,
I was gonna.
Lenny,
I
I'm
was gonna
sorry.
ask, and I was just gonna ask part of that same question. When did the letters come out? When did that actually happen? Because when I was growing up, my best friend in high school was gay, and we didn't call anybody anything. There wasn't any of that.
That was my thing. That's why I always wondered.
When did
Right,
that?
well, and queer was always like a derogatory term. It was
Right.
like the F word,
Right. That's why I
Right.
was surprised it was
Right.
ever added.
Much of the
Right.
older generation is like, I do not like queer. Do not call me that. But I remember I was telling my sister when I came out to her, she was the first one I came out to. And I told her about Q, and she's like, there's no Q. And so it was whatever year. So it was whatever year that was. It was like 2015 or something like that.
Yeah, it's pretty recent.
And then she looked it up, and she goes, she reads for a while, and she's like, you know what, I think I might be queer too. And it was amazing that, that word, and just reading about, this is becoming more acceptable, this word is being taken back, allows other people to kind of think about it differently, and then ultimately express themselves and express their attraction and sexuality a bit more.
You don't think that by trying to separate everybody repeatedly with these letters that you're actually pushing other people away, though, that everybody has to have their equal stay, their equal place? Everybody has to feel included in absolutely everything?
Well, the norm is to be a heterosexual, and you don't have to fight for anything. Like, that's the norm. So they're already included. They don't need inclusivity. They're
I don't mean
already
that.
the norm.
I mean kind of pushing your own cause away. There's a lot of things, a lot of causes out there for different reasons. The Black Lives Matter thing, the white privilege thing, the women thing, where there's so much to include every single aspect that they forget. And it pushes the people who are away, like, I'm just tired of this. I can't take it anymore. And do you think that hurts your cause at all?
Are you saying that, like, labeling everything is putting people in a box? Is that where you're getting at? Or...
In a sense, yes. In a box that other people are feeling left out of. Because from my perspective, obviously I don't feel in a box. I don't feel like that at all. But from my perspective, when you constantly do that, you feel... Or I should say this way. I used to think that everybody was part of my group, no matter what you were. And I almost feel like those groups are trying to separate themselves from me as well. Like, you don't belong. And with apps out there and a lot of conversations people have, people do feel separated from those groups. Like, you don't belong in our group as well. And I've always had a hard time with exclusivity. Because I'm very much an inclusive person of everybody. And this is a very similar topic to on our race show that we talked about.
Yeah.
So it's very similar. So I'm just curious how it goes. And mind you, no offense to anybody, a lot of people have these questions. And a lot of people wonder this. So what are your thoughts? I'll get to, we got quite a few comments I'm going to get to in 1 second too. And thank you, by the way, Jan says I have friends that are, no problem. They are so nice and no pressure. I'll tell you this. We all have friends who are. And we all have friends we have no idea about.
Right.
And then we have those friends that we have an idea about as well. On there. So I'm going to get to some of our comments real quick, and if you got anything else to say, we'll definitely get back to you. Danny's here. Danny says, still a side note, IVVQT at the end was for cutie. QT. Oh, that's cute. That's cute. She thought she corrected it in the label.
There you go.
I thought the QT at the end. It is for cutie. Bill says, why do women have lesbian and guys don't have where gay covers it right? That's actually a good question, Bill.
That is a good question.
Does anybody know?
What was the
is there a
question?
reason for that? Why do women have the term lesbian? Because women have the term gay, just like guys. That pretty much encompasses liking the opposite sex. But women specifically have the term lesbian, I think is what it's asking. Why is that? Does anybody know?
It's anti-patriarchal. Because gay men are actually more patriarchal than straight men, to be completely honest. Which was something very surprising for me when I came out. I was like, oh, this is not a super loving thing. It's actually very, also much coded in white supremacy and patriarchy. And so I think for women to say, no, we are not gay, we are lesbian, it's another word to further distance yourself from the status quo.
I actually kind of thought it was
patriarchy.
because women were already fighting to be separated with men at the time, so they didn't want to be grouped in the same group as men at the same time. I always thought that was the reason, too.
Sure, that's another way of saying it, really.
I never knew exactly. I don't know if there's a real thought, but I've always wondered that, too. Bill says the lettering, the additions happened when Pride started. That sounds about right. When Pride started, I think when they started adding the different letters when it first started out there. I'm going to hit Pride up in a little bit. We got Cole Orton back. So glad to see you again, Cole Orton. He said, how did religion affect you growing up gay? Say what you will, but the U.S. is pretty religious, very zealous compared to the more liberal progressive religion in Europe. You're true on that, Cole Orton. We were actually going to hit on the religion, so we might as well do it right now.
Okay.
Who here is from a religious family?
Raise your hands.
All right. Okay.
There's a reason it took me 31 years to come out, y'all.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, let's be true here. So Keith, if I could talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I was raised Roman Catholic. Yeah, let's cringe a little bit for a second there. And then as I grew up, I saw parts of the religion that I loved, and then parts of it that made me want to distance myself more and more and more. And I didn't know this at the time, but it was because I'm gay. And so there's a lot of discussion if religious communities, outright ban us from their community, or if they say, we love you, but you have to do this, this, and this to be loved by God, like kind of a fake acceptance, but not fully accepted. And so I tried different religious communities, and I wrestled with it a lot. And I'm still on that journey of, I haven't been to a physical church in over 3 years. Before I even came out publicly, I was like, I don't want to be a part of something that's so judgmental and so, exclusionatory, not just of our community, but of mental health and a lot of other things. And to be clear, there are communities and there are spaces and there are more progressive Christian groups that are out there and that are doing amazing work to show that not all Christians are a certain way. But in my... Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Keith.
No, what you're saying is true, but one of the things is the parents, our parents and their parents grew up in the old school Christian.
Right.
So absolutely the likelihood of our kids not having the same issues with religion are going to be less. And that's one of the things Cole Orton is definitely referring to. They were so hard. Has anybody ever seen yet the movie The Prom that came out?
I haven't seen that. I've heard it's great, though.
It's absolutely, it's a great movie. It's a little preachy, but that's okay. Preachy's allowed. But there's a song in there, and it's Love Thy Neighbor is called the song, and it really hits on the religion aspects and how people break all sorts of rules according to it. They'll break every rule in religion, but because they don't agree with a certain aspect, then that's the rule that's not allowed to be broken.
Right.
But if they do agree. What about you, Elena? We hadn't really touched on you coming out, and you said you were a religious family as well, so... How did that work for you?
Wait, time about me coming out. I didn't come out.
I said Elena.
Oh, I thought you said Linny. I'm like, okay, I'll come out.
Wait a minute, you didn't come out? Oh, so we got another thing happening. So you're not going to be center of the rainbow. You're going to be part of the rainbow.
So growing up, we went to church all the time. My dad's side of the family is super religious, and my parents wanted us to see that aspect. Once I hit middle school, my parents were like, hey, if you don't want to go to church anymore, you don't have to. That's fine. We've given you the tools for you to decide if this is something you want to do or not. So that's when we got to...
Were they when you came out completely? Or have you yet?
they didn't really care. They were like, okay, cool.
There's something to be said for that peace and love generation. But that's good. And lastly, I want to go to hit the religion with you, Ryan. How was it with you? I mean,
it was
you said you saw signs. Did your family see signs?
Oh yeah, Linda was there. Lenny was there.
Yep.
I'm sure y'all knew. It wasn't like, and when I did come out, everyone was like, we knew, and some of them are like, we wouldn't have cared, Ryan. And it's like, it's really not about you.
Right.
Okay, it was about me accepting it for myself, who I was in this world. Not about like you. I was really lucky though to have everyone be so accepting, but it was more accepting on the Catholic side, surprisingly, because they were they're not super active Catholics, I guess. But it was on my mother's side, which was a Southern Baptist.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yes, and that was the church that I went to. That was how I was raised, and my mama Nadine Frazier was my Sunday school teacher. So I had, and she was the best storyteller I ever had. And so I grew up loving the Bible and loving these stories because I had such a great storyteller, really. And so I didn't come out until my mama, my papa, and my uncle all passed. And I feel like it's really sad to think about it, but I think there was something held on to that relationship. And it wasn't even me knowing like, oh, I can't do it until they die because I don't want them to know beforehand. But it was amazing how much easier it was to do it after they were gone.
Well, did you feel like you were going to disappoint someone?
I was going to disappoint myself, first off.
Okay.
Once I found out that I was like really excited. I was like, I have to tell everybody before I can go on my first date even.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not looking around. I'm like, I'm not going to be sneaking around. I'm not cruising. I feel like being gay, you don't have to do that anymore. And you shouldn't have to feel like you need to sneak around.
Right.
That's a totally different generation. And I was like, no, everybody, guess what? I had a huge crush on a boy who I've never met in my life. It was like I was going through these feelings that I should have been going through when I was like 13 years old at 26.
Right.
And I think that a lot of that had to do with a religious upbringing, for sure.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Last
And
question.
I still see myself as a faithful person, but when it comes to church, that's it's harder to find a congregation.
We talked on our last show about the faith thing, and that faith was really important. Cole Orton had brought it up, and I agree, faith is important. It doesn't have to be necessarily a churchy faith, but a faith in something. Last comment or question I have on Cole Orton's, and this question before I get to some more comments, is Gail Marie, you said you came out yesterday. How was it a surprise? Because we talk about your fiance all the time.
Right.
On the show, you mentioned your fiance.
So that's a very touchy is the wrong word, but it's just an interesting situation. So can I talk about this? So okay. She's right here with me, so I'm just I'm getting permission.
For all our new panelists, is there anything you don't want to talk about? Just say not comfortable talking about. That's fine.
Yeah. So I have a transgender woman as my fiance, and so she was AMAB, which means when she was born, she was assigned male at birth, and she is male to female transgender, and she just started hormones a little under a year ago, and so because of that, it's going to take some time for her to what they call pass, which means that the world still sees her as a male. So when we're out together, when we're doing things, we look like a heteronormative couple. And so when I came out, before I publicly came out, I came out secretly to some friends and to some family members, but I wasn't out completely until yesterday. And there was a little bit of surprise because, when I was growing up, I had all the crushes on the boys and I was the little boy crazy girl and I was, but it took some time for me to realize, just like Ryan talked about, that I had that huge fog in front of me. And so yes, there was a little bit of surprise to answer your question because, I look like I'm in a hetero relationship, but I'm not. I'm with a woman, and what's most important is I know who I am. That's the most important part of all
the biggest
this.
thing to come out is to know who you are and to get that out there and let people accept you for who you are, because who you are is an amazing person. You're a wonderful person. And I did see your post, and it was a very strong thing to do that many people don't have the capability to do yet, and they're afraid to. You'll find in a lot of situations, you'll find you have more support than you ever thought you would.
Right.
In that. I'm going to get to some other comments here because we're stacking up a bit. Bill's here, and this is a double-edged sword question, and I've had this question forever. Big question. So if you say you're gay, why do you have sex with the opposite sex? Because everybody, well, in a sense, I would say my personal answer is everybody likes to get off every once in a while. There is, I mean, we'll have sex with our own hand, male or female, one way or another. Okay, so it's not really the attraction. I've never had to put a dress and makeup on my hand to, rub one out.
I mean, something,
But I have an opposite opposing question to this. Why somebody who constantly has sex, we'll say a guy who constantly has sex with women, why when they have sex with one guy are they considered gay? And it's a double-edged sword there, because I will tell you, most guys out there have had experiences with other guys at some point in their life.
Yeah.
Okay, so why are they not gay?
Well, it's important to remember.
That will be the answer to the question.
Yeah, it's important to remember that you don't have to have experiences with either the same or the opposite gender to know who you are. And I think that can be argued either way. Some people will be like, well, you're not gay because you haven't done anything with a woman, or you're not, but I think that it's more important to just know who you are and to experiment if you don't know, to see, what you like and what you don't like. And so I think, you don't have to put ourselves in these boxes of, well, you're gay because of this, or you're not gay because of this. And so that's a big part of it, I think.
I mean, I believe the majority of the world
off that?
is inherently Elena and are bi. Go ahead, piggyback off of it.
So I totally agree with that. I consider myself bisexual, but I have never slept with a woman. I'm engaged to a man, but I still consider myself bisexual because I find women attractive.
Right.
If given the opportunity, I might have sex with a woman. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what I do, but this is how I feel, if that makes sense.
Okay, so of all celebrities, if you could pick a female celebrity,
I have so many.
Who would it be?
There's so many. Oh,
there's so many good ones.
What's my number one?
I like that you got to ask him what's your number.
Because I talk to him about it all the time. If I got to pick a chick celebrity,
your hall
who do I talk about the most? Huh?
Sedona doesn't come with a celebrity.
You're right. Other than that,
anyone.
Okay.
Hurry up.
You love that. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
probably Lana Del Rey.
Okay.
Or Margot Robbie.
Bill kind of answered his own question as well. As I said, a lot of times, I do believe the majority of the world is bi. It's how far bi they are, what side they lean towards most. Everybody wants to try. There is a certain point. Now, if you are only 10% interested in females, well, most people are considered just gay, but it doesn't mean they haven't had sex and doesn't mean they didn't enjoy it at the time. And same with vice versa. They may enjoy the activity, but they don't have the innate attraction to it. But the activity is totally different. But Bill, you answered your own question. You said, I know many women who have kids. And that's the other reason why gay people will sleep with the opposite sex, because most gay people still want a family.
And all the other stuff is expensive.
Oh, yeah. Ridiculous.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that, I think, is one of the biggest reasons why gay guys have sex with women and gay women have sex with guys, is that hope for that are definitely one side or another, have sex with the opposite sex, is because they want a family and they want that child to be theirs. Really quick before I go back to the top, Jen agrees with you, Elena. She says she had a crush on a girl in high school but did not approach her because she was not interested in her. That's a tricky one, actually, Jan, because sometimes they actually are.
But you just don't know.
If Gail Marie had a crush on Elena, just saying right now, though, if you did, you would not know without this show or this moment, just talking to her regularly, that she would have any interest in you or not. But the possibility would be there that she does. But if it's never brought up, it's never brought up. Danny says, I thought it was just because of two different sexes. Which one was that? I think I delayed that. Which was because of two different sexes.
Oh, you mean the...
I missed when that one came in.
Okay.
So I'll get back to if you can elaborate on which
okay.
one you were talking about. Let me know. There, Danny, because I forgot. Jan says people change their attitude, their looks, fashion. Let people be comfortable of how they want to be. We don't live their lives, and that's really what it boils down to. Stay the fuck out of the life if you don't like it. You don't live it. You don't have to be there in any way. So that's a good point on there. Do you have anybody? Is anybody on this panel or in the chat had people that just condemned their lifestyle even after they came out? Or said anything, or wouldn't.
I
just
never
leave me
have,
alone?
just because being a bisexual woman is almost like straight men think that that's great.
Yeah, you pretty much got interest of everybody as a bisexual woman.
Exactly, like straight men, like it's almost gross how much straight men are like, ooh, that's so hot. I have a good example of that. Josh Peer.
Okay, we usually avoid names, but he's one of our panelists, so that works.
So I get to call him out.
One of our regular panelists. On there, anybody else have that? Where did anybody lose any friends for coming out?
No,
Not
I actually
yet.
made a friend. I made a lot of friends.
Oh, I'm sure you made quite a few friends, actually.
Good.
A whole nother.
Hey, no, but for real, one of the things that kind of cracked my mind, though, was I met a friend on the train, and this friend, I had never seen them before. It was getting on the train. I live in Chicago, and it was after a show, and coming back home on the train, and this friend comes up on with me and is hitting on me so hard, and I didn't know what to do. I was like, no, I'm not interested. But you seem like a very interesting person if you want to hang out. And it turned into just like a hangout, and I came out first to him, and when he found out that I came out, he was really upset that I didn't, that he wasn't more a part of it. But
Okay.
But so it was more about but no, I left Michigan though. I had already lost all of my friends.
Well, there's probably reasons unrelated to that. What were you going to ask,
Yeah.
Sonny?
No, you lost your friends because of being gay, or you just,
No,
or just,
I think,
or just because they had different interests than you.
No, I didn't really lose any friends, I would say. I think, like I said, I think everyone knew that I was gay, which was really interesting. So when I came out, like, for a lot of people, it wasn't a big deal.
Like, yeah, whatever.
I think
we
it
know.
wasn't until, yeah, it was like whatever we know. It wasn't until later that I started talking about why and how and becoming much more transparent in my experiences and expressing myself that people were like, that's a bit too much. I don't know if I
Right.
want to hear about you and that. But it's very exciting to me, so...
Yeah.
So I've
there
lost
you
a
go.
couple people, I guess, maybe just in the...
Now,
And some
Right.
family members. More so family than it has been friends. Because family you don't really get to choose. And that
Right.
I feel like some relationships have gotten toxic where you just kind of have to cut it off.
how in the
Yeah,
dark
for
were
your
your
safety.
friends?
How what?
How in the dark were your friends? I'm going to say, like, when I never really essentially came out. I've just always been me. But when people find out, like, nobody's surprised because, like, you all sucked my dick too, so shut up. Even though they're in the closet or they've never talked about it. How in the dark were your friends? Did you have a whole group that... I guess the way I got to ask this is because when I was more public about it and I didn't care or anything like that, there's some of these friends that I had been in contact and done stuff with through the years, they distanced themselves because now it's an association issue. Has anybody gone through anything like that before with their friends? Because
I think that's more for men than women.
definitely,
because I think
definitely.
women accept it. I love every gay man friend that I have. They're the best.
Right.
You go shopping, you get your nails done. They're like, they're the best.
gay men are the best.
They are.
Well, yeah. Well, I would say that I had mainly... I enjoyed my company of women more than I enjoyed the company of men when I was growing up and in high school. And and the men that I did consider my friends in high school, they're definitely not feeling like where I'm coming from now when it comes to where I grew up.
Right.
Right. So Ryan, I have to, and all of you guys, but I had one of my best friends in high school. I had two best friends. One was a girl, one was a guy, and we all three hung out all the time. And he was absolutely gorgeous. I mean, just gorgeous. Every woman, everywhere we went, women wanted him, but he never would initiate. He'd go out with some girls. Well, after high school, he wound up coming out of the closet, but he never told me. he told my girlfriend, and I'm like, but why not me? I would have never judged him for that. But in high school, people would always say, oh, he is. And I'm like, no, he's not. He goes out with girls, you know. But he always hung out with us. Now, talking to him now, it's different. But he always said he wanted to kind of hang out with us because wherever we went, it was the same interests that he had. And it was safe because he didn't have to, you know, tell anyone. It was safe because he was with us. Somebody thought he was with one of us, you know. But yeah, I just still to this day though, I was like, why, I wonder why he ever couldn't tell us when we loved him so much.
It's always a fear that your friends are going to look at you differently.
Right.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, we have basic secrets we don't tell anybody that are not even near to that depth that we're afraid that people are going to look at us differently or judge us for them. And when you're talking about an actual lifestyle, go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, I was just thinking it you know, because all of a sudden, if you know the term beard, it's like maybe he doesn't want to be like, oh, just so you know, I've been using you, you know, to make myself pass as straight. And that's not like a really fun thing to say to a friend.
No, and they're still friends. They still like them.
Likely some shame.
Well, and I think a part of that is, you know, I was straight passing for most of my life because I thought I was, you know, and I didn't like date anyone to put it in their face. I didn't do anything to like hurt anyone on purpose. But when you realize who you are, some people in your life might be like, well, how are you that way now when you've been this other way for most of your life? And so you can address those questions, you can be open about it, or you can just be like, you know, this is just who I am now, and from now moving forward, like I've always been this way, I just didn't know until this time in my life. So
now when you I want to get to these comments before I go to the next one because they are stacking up. I'm sorry. Jill says she had a gay roommate. Being straight, I accepted her lifestyle. In that experience, I learned a lot about myself. It was strange to me living with her, and I'm sure it was strange to her too. And she followed up with, one of my closest friends is gay. He's the sweetest guy. No one doesn't judge me. Now my question is, how does the community view the straight population? It seems to be a great divide from my experiences. And that's a really good question. Again, I'm against the exclusivity for inclusivity, but I know a lot of it is needed because it's only right, really, to have your own space as well. How do you feel about that, the three of you? Well, even I guess, Lenny, you know a lot of gay people, so do you feel the straight population is not viewed the same?
I don't know. I think, community? Yeah, I don't know. That's a toughie. I'd have to ask a few of them.
What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, I would say the straight population is very retro. If I need a reason why I'm gay, you need a reason why you're straight. If you need a reason why I'm non-binary, you need a reason why you are such a man. And it's because, I mean, you show yourself off, you do these things, you act the certain ways in order to pass as straight, as a man, as whatever. So I want a little bit more explanation from the straight people as to why they are. It's not because of some trauma that I am.
Now, does that go to everybody or just the people that condemn your lifestyle choice?
No, I think that it's an interesting question to ask in a broad term. Like, why are you straight? You know, people should ask themselves that question.
Okay, do you guys believe that you were developed that way or born that way? Or, you know, do you think it's hormonal? Do you think it's, you know, what do you think triggers what you wind up becoming? Whether it's gay, straight, you know, or whatever.
What turns you on? I don't think there's really anything.
Do you think it's your environment that started?
No.
You know, do you think it's...
my personal opinion is fuck no. We had our child abuse episode, our sexual abuse episode on here. And I said even on that episode, I don't think that had any impact on who I became in any way. I like what I like. And it's my choice to embrace it or reject it. If somebody feeds me a pizza, it doesn't matter if I grew up in a poor household or a rich household. I'm either going to like or dislike that pizza. It has nothing to do with the environment. Now, you may continuously eat pizza because that's what that family serves all the time, and that's what you're used to.
But I guess where I'm curious is that, like, my one friend in high school, I don't know if he knew that he was, and maybe it was that cloud or whatever. He was just trying to figure himself out. Then my other friend that I talked to, I asked him specifically, when did you know? And he said before the age of 5, he was playing with all of his sister's stuff. He didn't want anything to do with his brother's stuff. You know, he was gravitated to everything that was girl related and not not his brother's stuff. He didn't want to play sports and stuff, but he wanted to go see the dudes that his brothers were playing with, So
Well, I think it's. I'm sorry. Did you have anything else to say about that? Or
I was.
Yeah, I think that people have different experiences. Like you said, you had the friend that knew from a very young age that they gravitated towards different things. And then there's people who meet, like me, it's frustrating because a lot of people are going to question, well, why did it take you 31 years? Why did it take you so long to finally realize who you are? Right. But what I'm saying is, when it comes along, I believe that you are born the way you are, and experiences do shape, what you start to like. Maybe it's because of how you were raised by your parents. Maybe it's because of the friends and the people that you surround yourself with. But because I lived such a sheltered life, I wasn't able to really express who I am as a person and who I like and what I want until I was literally in my late 20s. So that doesn't make me any less gay, but I didn't know since I was 5 years old, So there's the different experiences and the different ways of how it develops in people.
Well, let me ask Lenny a question. Lenny, you consider yourself straight?
Yeah.
Okay. Did your environment impact that, or was that just how you felt?
I think it was.
I mean, because you could ask the same question both ways.
Okay. I think it was just simply I've never been sexually attracted to a woman in a way of wanting to have sex with a woman. But I will say this with Elena. I am very. I find women beautiful. So when I see a beautiful woman, I'm attracted to that. I'll be the first one to go, oh my gosh, she's beautiful. I don't have that same thing. Very, very seldom do I look at men and go, oh my God, I don't. I am more attracted to looking at a woman, I think. And maybe it's because everybody, puts themselves together so nice. And maybe that's why I like gay men, because they'll go, do their hair, do their clothing nice and all of that.
And there's a little bit of the kind of like the jealousy mode of attraction too, where you want that body, you want to look that way, and you never have your whole life, and sometimes that does it. But there's two levels of attraction.
I will say this: if I had to pick a gay woman to want to have a relationship with, it would be like Rachel Maddow. I just love her. Just do.
Well, that's cool. We'll go around table and figure out who we'd all have sex with in a minute. I mean, that's fine.
No, it's not about sex. She's super intelligent, and I just love listening to her, and I have an attraction to her.
Like I can find, I do not have the physical attraction until I'm emotionally connected. I don't care who you are.
And that's what demisexual is. Yeah.
Right.
So I won't have it, but I can still find somebody beautiful and attractive, whether it be a guy or a girl. Doesn't mean
and not want to
fuck
sleep
them.
with them.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's where people get confused. But we live in a society right now where you can't even do that, because if you're a guy and you say, guy's attractive, that guy wants to fuck me, dude. And that's exactly what it is. And
I
so
just have
it's
such an issue with straight people caring so much about who other people are sleeping with.
Right. Why does it matter?
Why do you care who I have sex with?
Here's the kicker on this.
Because they're jealous and they want to.
I was
That's
just
what
going
I'm
to
saying.
say.
Just go out and be yourself. No one gives a fuck anymore. No one cares anymore. Fuck who you want to fuck. Love who you want to love.
Like
it shouldn't be that hard.
with Lenny finding women attractive and stuff, and that they can be attractive. The reason some people do it with the same sex is exactly what Ryan just said, and what I was going to bring up. It is a jealousy thing, because the majority of the populations have that thought inside. Some have never tried it and wanted to, and it's actually resentment that you get to do it, and if they do, they believe they would never be allowed in society. And most homophobics that I've ever met, I've been with.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Like, I know for a fact.
It's fear turning into hatred.
Yes, exactly. God, we are backing up here. Cole, now, do they still have those gay therapy conversation camps in the U.S.?
Oh gosh.
Were any of you pressured to join the Pray the Gay Away?
I had a
thing?
friend that was forced to go to
Pray
one.
the gay
Oh
away.
no. Yeah,
If
that's
there's
it. Have you
religion,
heard that
there's
phrase,
those
Lenny?
camps.
Have you heard that phrase before? So, a lot of people in my opinion, mostly evangelical Christian circles think that if you just pray enough, the gay is just gonna fly away like it was never there. So they do that with anxiety, they do that with physical illness, they do that, like, prayer is great. Don't let me bash that, but like, they are so worried, in my opinion, about what other people think, and they want this perfect vision of like the perfect family or the perfect child or whoever it is, that they would rather, those institutions, if they're still, sometimes they still run, have so much psychological damage because they're like, I don't want my child, or I don't want my spouse, or I don't want this person to be the way they are, so let's do everything we can to get that away. I mean, there's not accepting, and then there's that step. I mean, it makes me angry. So
religion, unfortunately, butts its nose in half the time where it don't belong. And
right.
the two biggest ones it does it to are sexuality and obviously government stuff. Those things should be separate on there. People pull verses from the Bible, as they always do. Now, I don't really follow religion one way or another, but it's all based on interpretation. I mean, homosexuality totally exists in the Bible more than just Sodom and Gomorrah. There's a lot of other ones, and the commandments, thou shalt not lay. So, but people take it to heart. They believe it at face value, exactly what it means, and that it is a choice you're making to be wrong because God would never make you that way. So they believe if you can turn to God, you will be cured, and they are fucking stupid.
The verse that everyone uses is you can't leave. You can't lay with a young child, so it was about pedophilia. So the
it was
verse
literally
that they always use has nothing to do with homosexuality.
It was translated incorrectly.
Right.
But throughout
to push an agenda.
But throughout history, homosexuality and pedophilia have unfortunately been tied together.
Right.
Ever since.
Yeah, that's true, Ryan. That's totally true. I just think that.
Well, every gay guy wants little boys. I mean,
oh,
that's
come on,
apparently.
Keith.
No, I'm saying that's what people think.
Right, yeah.
No, I don't believe that. Give me some credit.
I know. Sorry, I get triggered when I hear stuff about religion.
Ultimately, it's not even just little boys. It's like any little kid at all.
They're
it's
pervert,
like you are a
right.
pervert. It's like that word pervert.
Well, and also, it's Elena, right? Sorry, I don't want to call you the wrong name. I've heard a lot of things about bisexual people, and Keith, you've probably heard this too. Well, you just want to fuck everything that moves.
Oh, I do that all the time. Because I tell people,
so not the case.
And that's so rude to say.
My fiance will tell you that is wrong.
Or the idea that you can't make up your mind. It's like choose one, pick one.
But also, I don't have to make up my mind.
You don't.
Right. You
don't. I don't have to.
Yeah, I mean, I had my straight relationships too, and I had different relationships. I thought that I was pansexual. I really wanted to be pansexual, but it just wasn't working out.
Right,
there's things that you want to try, and then you just but it only takes experience. And if you're afraid of such experience, then you might end up getting an ulcer from not expressing yourself at all ever.
Yeah.
Well, and I think Ryan, just like you said, I think people are afraid. Like you feel like you're supposed to be in this one certain box, maybe again because of how you were raised or the people that are around you. So you're worried about trying different labels. Like you don't have to be the same person from when you were 15. Like you can evolve and you can change, and I think that's really important to remember. Like I think that it's normal and it's healthy and it's really great to be like, let me see how it feels to say no to something if I don't feel like it's something I want, or let me see how it feels to flirt with a guy or flirt with a non-binary person, or it's really important to be able to do that.
Some people, like we were talking earlier, some people knew at 5 years old that they were gay and what they have, but some people don't. Some have to be introduced into that situation to realize they like it. I was in high school or junior high school, and I was watching the guys change in there, and obviously my hormones were kicking a little more when I was younger than before I fleshed out to what I was going to become. And I freaked out like, oh my God, I'm fucking gay because that looks delicious. And totally
Delicious was a great word for that.
I thought it would.
Great.
So I moved on, and later I saw a woman, and I'm like, wow, that looks pretty damn tasty, too. I'm like, yes, I'm bisexual. That's awesome. Like, best of both worlds. I was so happy. And it turned out that wasn't it. That was my hormones and curiosity kicking in, because as I got with people and as I discovered, I didn't feel the same way. I realized what was making me attracted to people that was not hormone related. So many comments. Welcome back, Linny. Let's put you back where you belong. Put you back where you belong, and you guys where you belong. Okay, there we go. Welcome back. More comments coming at us. I want to get through these, and I'm glad. It's all about you. So, if you have any questions, feel free to ask us. Bill says, nope. When you're a straight man and hang around with a bunch of gay women, you get judged from both sides. I lost friends. I didn't care. It works the other way around, too, if you ever heard the term fag hag. That's usually a straight woman that hangs around nothing but gay guys. My ex-girlfriend actually was considered that, but she owned that shit. She's like, yeah, I am. I don't really care. Words never bother me with anything, but I don't mean to offend anybody with my terms, because I just say what people say. It's not right. Danny agrees with Elena on other things. That was from the previous comment. Jan says, yep, Elena, I had a crush on a girl in high school, but did not approach her. I already went to that one, sorry. The man she was with for 11 years hid. Someone seen him sitting on our porch one time and asked if he was the sister to the guy they would see. She would say, yeah, he's my twin. Well, I've known a few that it's been a relative more than a partner. Just to keep it hidden. Cole Orton says nature versus nurture.
Right.
And that's what I believe, and that's what I think when Linny asked about the environment. I do not believe your environment affects you to a point. I believe what you choose to stick with is affected by your environment. I believe that people sometimes lead completely straight lives because of a religious environment. But being gay inside had nothing to do with that environment. But they're living the life because of that. That's my personal belief. Any thoughts?
No, I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
I think it was a lot of like older people.
Okay, Bill.
Bill says, yeah, Liddy. Bill, I would absolutely love to see you with tits.
Oh, God,
I'm just
Bill.
saying. Okay.
Ryan's still trying to figure out Bill.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah,
Just so you know, Bill comes on and he's a comic relief.
Yes,
I like
he's
this when Linny's here, Bill doesn't talk to me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you haven't been on a show with Linny yet, have you?
No.
Linny's torn, or Bill's torn right now. It's like, oh my God. I was like, Cole Orton says he knows for a fact that Russia has the anti-homosexual propaganda laws because they consider being gay a choice. And they're not the only country. It is punishable by death in certain countries. There are other things they do to you as well.
Yeah, well, Eddie, what isn't a choice? What is
Right.
not a choice? You make so many choices every day. Like, so what? It's a choice. It's like, so what? I hate that.
Yeah. That's
like
it.
I
That's
said-
right. I don't care. I fucking hate that.
I think it was much so due to me growing up in a suburban neighborhood that I went into the closet and then forced myself and like prayed like Carrie, Stephen King's Carrie, to like force the evil out of me. You know what I mean? Because it was around puberty, right? When you see those other things and you're like, ooh, I like that. And that was also a time when puberty, 13, you're too young, you're not sure about sexuality, but you see something that makes you feel something new. And then that's why a lot of like young people also may commit suicide, because they feel this certain way at such a young age. And I remember thinking about very early thoughts of suicide, and I'm sure many people do, and a lot of us, I won't say most, but don't get away and aren't able to leave due to the environments that because everything is a choice, but when you're 12 years old, what is a choice really for you? You know what I mean?
That's so important, Ryan.
I mean, junior high for me was about 13 years old, and that's what it was. It was a new experience, and at the time, I just thought immediately what I thought. I didn't really pay attention to actual feelings, and as you grow up, you experience them and you feel differently about them. I have no regrets with anything I've ever done in life. I am proud of it. Even the ones that I wish I never would have been with, I don't regret it. Because it's based on how you feel at the time and what you do, and you don't know anything until you try it. And I'm not saying everybody try to be gay. But you don't know. You don't know the situation those people are in, and you won't know you're attracted to women or men until you've been in the experience to be attracted to a woman or a man.
Right.
And sometimes it does change. People do change. Moving on, Jan says the guy I was with tried one of his sister's dresses on. His mom caught him. She accepted it. I wear a dress every year, so that's fine on that one. But my
That
mom
was my
used to-
favorite part of Halloween. Halloween was the one time of year I got to wear a dress.
There you go.
Still is for me. And I, honestly, and Lenny, because Lenny knows this personally, I'm some kind of diva on Halloween every single year, and I love it. And I would totally like to do it more regularly, but not for any gay reason. It's fun.
Well, why
I
don't you do
enjoy
like a
dresses
drag?
are great.
Why does it have to be a gay reason?
But
Why
that's
can't you
what
just
people
do
want.
it?
Right, you can just
Yeah.
Dresses
So
are
what?
comfortable.
and let's
Yes.
like dressing up like a woman is not a gay thing. Like
Right.
it
Right.
can't like you can be gay and do that, but like and there's also an important distinction between a cross dresser and a trans man or a trans woman. Like that's
And also a drag
that's too
queen.
right,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's and I think that goes into like Ryan, you were talking about this earlier, but like what makes a woman and what makes a man and like why do you have to be a certain way as a woman and a certain
Hi,
way
Tony.
as a man? Like you can dress how you want, you can do, you know, and I think
There's
we're getting
no rules.
somewhere. Right. And
There's
I
no
think
rules.
we're more progressive these days, but I think there's still people who, you know, lose their shit over Harry Styles wearing a dress. Like it's a dress. Calm down.
I think that human beings by nature are like obsessed with categorizing things, and categorizing people is number one interest.
That's true,
And
Ryan. Yeah.
I think that just on first glance, the first way we categorize is gender. Okay, that's a man, that's a woman. And then right after that, you're flooded with, okay, this is what I can get out of them. This is how I should act around them due to man, woman, whatever social status is happening. You know, so when anybody sees something that does not look directly like a man or a woman, people freak the fuck out because they don't know what they can get out of them. They don't know how they should act. They don't know what they should do.
Right.
You know, they don't know how to make the uncomfortable decision to start that conversation.
Or worse yet, they find them attractive.
Or yeah, and then that goes.
I make a
back
damn
to-
good-looking woman, let me say.
I bet. But then when a lot of straight men are attracted to trans women, it's like, oh, are you gay or are you straight, and what does that mean? You know, that's a whole different conversation.
Right.
I mean, I'm not much in that community,
No,
but I do have trans friends where it's like, yeah, no, you're not gay because you love me. You know, I am a woman. That's what's happening.
Jan says she's been told she could pass for Richard Gere. Gere from Runaway Bride. That's actually a very strange coincidence. I'm always confused with Julia Roberts, so I get that. I can't seem to go anywhere without that. Colin, can I get to the comment real quick before
Yeah.
we do the next one? Aren't people homophobic because they think there's people out there that forcefully want to teach this stuff to their young kids? And this is very true. They think people want to confuse them, encourage homosexuality, shove this agenda down their throat against the parents' will and wish, etc. And that's a problem we're facing right now. And this is what I was talking about earlier with the lettering and stuff like that. That everything you do is hurting your cause to the opposite factions because they feel like it's being shoved down their throats. And I'm talking about all sorts of situations, not just the gay
Yeah.
community. And
The
whether
Black
it's
Lives
cancel
Matter,
culture,
Yeah.
Black
yeah,
Lives Matter,
everything.
Anything is going to feel like it's being shoved down their throat.
right?
Right.
So like,
Because
so
it's
what?
uncomfortable. Because it's not exactly how they feel and how they like go to
Right.
a private school that's Christian if you don't want this like acceptance is not an agenda. Like, you know, I don't know. It's just it's straight people I don't know.
Well, yeah, and I want to go back to the idea that, you know, I grew up having to try and play straight the whole time. I had to grow up having straight ideology into my head. So, and like you had said earlier, that a lot of kids don't know what is available to them being in such a sheltered place, so that education can save their lives.
Right.
Because so many young suicides are young gay LGBTQIA plus people. And so I think that like you should deal with it and you should have those conversations, because like I had to grow up being super confused as to why what I liked was not okay, and that confused me, and that was ultimately dangerous.
And I did too. Like most of my growing up was in the 90s. And
And that's
That
post-age, right? Post when everything was terrifying
right.
about being gay and how it was the devil and how it was a sin and how all of
Mm-hmm.
And
that.
listening to all my friends talk around me. Now, I had a different, because I've been a very unique individual my whole life. I have a different view. But I would have friends that I knew for a fact were closeted or whatever, or bisexual. And I would listen to my other friends talk, and the way it made them feel, the way it hurt them inside, that they were insulting them and never even knew it. And you have to look at, like, the majority of the heavy drug users out there, gay people take a good portion of it, a very large portion of it. Depression, suicide, very large portion tied to sexuality on there. Do you think that all these people who are depressed, suicidal, turning to drugs, any kind of relief of happiness, are making a choice to do so? That they chose that wrong path? No, they're struggling so hard. They're finding,
just
trying to find
who
some
they
way
are.
to escape,
Right.
to get
Well,
out of
and
it.
I think, and I don't want to, there are different people from different areas that have different ideologies, but I think that, like Ryan said, education and asking those questions and having those conversations, your child is not going to wake up one day, and this is the fear of most conservative parents and groups, like, they're going to be taught to be transgender, and then tomorrow they're going to wake up and say I'm transgender. Like, that's not, and if they express those feelings, have that conversation and believe them, because the trans suicides and the suicides from other people in the community are because their parents won't accept them, and they won't use the pronouns, and they won't make the effort to help them. And I think that we're more accepting, and that scares them because they think that their child is just going to do it because they think it's cool. But in my honest opinion, no child, no person is going to just say, okay, it's cool, so I'm going to do this too. You can try different things, you can see what works for you, but this fear and this hate is it's just not warranted. I just don't get why there's so much, like, education and inclusivity and having those conversations are not a bad thing.
Okay, so I have a really quick question talking about fear. Are any of you guys afraid to go to certain places? That I had my friends didn't want to go to certain bars with me because they were afraid they were going to get beat up and they would have to act different and that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kit Kat, one of the bars I work mainly, is one of them. Now, I don't have an issue there, but
that was the bar that I wanted my friend to go to, and he wouldn't go there because he was worried about it.
And the assumption. But still, you walk into a place where the majority of your crowd is either religious, certain political sides, or all straight, and it's known to be that way. You walk in as a gay man, you are fearful of how you'll be treated because all you want to do is go out and have a good time. And I get that same going into other bars too, because in my bars, Elena knows this from Jamboozies, I bring the gay. I turn everybody there gay. I don't know how I do it, but literally everybody there is suddenly gay. And they love it because it's a freeing thing. And that's what I always thrive my shows on when I perform, is to give you a freeing environment. But some people just look at it and don't feel that way. They feel they're going to be outcast and judged, and nobody truly likes to be judged in that way when they don't know you. And I'm going to turn it over to the other three. How about you and your fears?
I'm most afraid of not being able to express myself. I'm more afraid of what I'm not going to do anymore. More so than afraid of what people are going to do to me. Even though I have gone through experiences where, due to what I say, because I can have a sharp fucking tongue, that I can get myself into trouble. Okay. And but ultimately, I'm like, I don't care if I hurt your feelings. Like, you do not have to try to kill me. And generally, those feelings come out of I'm scared of closeted people, ultimately, as well. It's also, I'm attracted to them, too. And it's like, because those are the people, I think, that stuck in that box, and they're so ashamed of themselves for being attracted that it's not just suicides, it's also murder and aggressive behavior.
Right.
And it's, and that's all, it's mainly from men. it's like so terrible to have any femininity. So I'm scared of anybody who is ashamed of the feminine part of themselves.
Right. I'm more afraid for my partner.
Yeah.
Right now, she is not passing yet, so we are okay. But even though we're in Florida, there's still conservative parts of Florida, and there's a lot of, I'm not going to even say his name, lovers. And so yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I think, I'm very lucky and privileged to be a white female in this world. So I think that because of that, and because I'm in a passing relationship that nobody stares at right now, I don't have that fear. But I think the fear will come when she can express more of herself, and dress the way she wants and be who she wants. That's when the fear is going to come in, because people love to find something to hate, and people love to...
They're outlets for people.
Right. And like Ryan said, the closeted people lash out because they're attracted and they don't know what to do. So that I have that fear as well. But right now we're lucky where there's not a lot of that yet. So.
Elena, you probably don't experience as much, obviously, but do you
Not
know people,
so much,
have you
but
ever-
like I mean a little bit, because it can be scary if I'm in a situation where like I'm being fetishized because I also because I'm attracted to women, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a little
like
opposite,
scary in
but
that
it's the same
aspect.
kind of thing. Yeah, it is the same kind of thing. Being attracted to women the same way. Because you're looked at differently, because you say you're attracted to women, the first thing that goes through straight guys' minds is, oh my God, threesome. It's going to happen.
Right.
We're going to do this.
Oh, all the time.
And that's all it is. It's nothing
It's frustrating. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just as hard. But Ryan is absolutely right in that, and I agree with Ryan 100%. It's fucking scary because people attack to protect their own identity. I mean, for crying out loud, these people get married and have kids when they're 100% gay to protect their identity. There's nothing they will not do.
Yeah, well, it's also their high school. I always say, like, you married your high school. Don't be pissed at me because you do not have fun.
I like that. I like that.
You literally, because that was the easiest thing. That's what you're taught to do. Get married, get a high school sweetheart, marry them, have kids, go to work, keep on working, and then, keep on doing that.
Hunter says the worst thing, back to Elena's comment, is when a straight man says, "Can I watch?" And is
No.
that the worst?
Do you let
That
people
sounds
watch
odd.
you have sex?
Yes. Yes, but it costs money. You want Keith, but Keith ain't free. Okay? I charge
that's
by
fine,
the
that's
pound
your
for this
thing.
shit.
But no one would ever walk up to a straight couple and say,
Right.
"Hey, can I watch you guys have sex?" That wouldn't happen.
Or
Okay,
who's
except for
the
you.
man in the relationship?
Yeah,
who wears
no.
the pants?
I love, okay, that's the weird thing about me, like I said, with my sexuality. I do find the human body so beautiful. I love nudity. I want to see the world naked. I don't want to fuck the world, maybe 20% of it.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
That's cool,
I find
too.
the human body totally artistic. So I want to watch people straight, gay, bisexual, whatever, chipmunks. I want to see it. Bill says heredity or environment is a question on that goes back
Heredity.
to our
That's an interesting word choice, I think.
I'd say
Because
fuck
it makes
heredity.
me think I'm the only person in my family who has came out. But
Right.
do I think that there's other people in the family that would like to? Yeah.
Well, they're human.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. It could be hereditary, but I think it's more just it's like whatever, being left-handed. You don't know. Is that hereditary? So I think heredity is putting a bit too much weight on the idea of being something other than straight, or this very binary language of gay, straight, man, woman.
Right.
Jan, your comment of choice, what are you referring to, if you could reflect
Do you
on that?
mean,
I made
like,
a
if
choice
it's-
to come out.
Made a choice to come out, right? I made a choice
Yeah.
not to kill myself.
I knowing Jan,
Yeah.
who's been on here before, I don't think she means it's a choice to be gay, but if she does, I just want to know what she's referring to on that. Bill says, so if Elena is bi,
Oh,
you can't...
Bill.
Is she available now? Now, here's the thing, Bill. Elena was totally into you, even being engaged, but she said you can't spell the word bi, and fuck that.
Yeah.
What would you guys do without me? We wouldn't laugh half as much. We love you, Bill.
That's true,
We'd
Bill.
be
That's
less
true.
harassed.
Bill also says ESV is great. The people that watch are getting released. Thank you. That is
Yeah,
the whole
that's
point
true,
of the
Bill.
show.
Good
That's
thing.
why we do
Thank
this.
you. Thank you very much for that.
Has
says-
anyone come out and like had a moment of, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have done this, or like doubting yourself for a second? Or like, was it just like, because you guys discussed
There's
that you
your
didn't
answer,
have a
Bill.
lot of backlash, which is good, but did you have any moments of like, okay, maybe I'm just doing this for attention, or maybe like this is not really who I am, or like, you know, I'm not trying to like doubt any one of you or anything.
No,
I
I
was just
know.
wondering if you like
It was
had any of
hard.
those thoughts or moments.
It was really scary. It was really okay. I came out to my dad at an outdoor country concert in Waco, Texas.
Oh, you win. Oh
And
my
you're
god.
still alive. I'm so
I did
happy.
it through an email because I'm scared of my parents. So you,
Yeah.
like, you
And that
did
was just my
it.
dad. Mom was a whole other story. My mom was like,
Yeah.
but it was with my dad that I felt most of the pressure.
Mm-hmm.
It might have been the concert. It might have been Waco, Texas. But yeah, I was waiting for a moment, and he had let me know that he was selling the childhood home that I moved out, like that I lived in, and that I grew up in. He's like, just so you know, I'm selling the house. I was like, well, just so you know. So it was kind of like, it was kind of like,
just
oh,
so
this
you
is a
know.
great, yeah, this is like, you kind of hurt me a little bit with a big life choice, so I need to like see if this hurts you with this big life choice. And it didn't at all. And he was just like really actually very happy. And it was a
Good.
very beautiful moment. My mom, on the other hand, was like, well, I hope your faith is okay.
Yeah.
And it was always my mom, and it is generally the mother who teaches gender roles to the children, because the dad
Right.
could give a shit. And it was definitely my mom who saw me be a flowery child and was like, come over here, who's the prettiest one in the magazine? And I was looking in the magazine for very different reasons, you know. I was like, she is, because that's who I want to be,
Yeah.
you know? And rather than like, you know, she would say things like, oh, he watches Coyote Ugly because he likes watching the girls dance. You know, it's like, I wanted to be the dancer.
There you
Right.
go.
I knew it was going to come from my mom, but it was more of like a, hey, guess what? You were right. You're so right. And I'm so proud. And you're going to have to listen to all my sex stories now. And I don't hold back, but it was scarier to tell my dad just because I think of the whole patriarchal
Right.
masculine idea of the situation. But afterwards, I'm really glad I did, and I think the fear is such a part of it. I think that's such a part of being queer, or however you identify, is kind of having to deal with that fear, shame of not being straight.
Now, what about your sisters? Or
My
your
sisters?
Yeah.
Well, my older sister had came out when I came out. She was like, oh, I kind of want to try that too, which was really funny how easy it was to transcribe. And how kind of easy it is acceptance can be, and have other people all of a sudden experience things.
It's
you know?
so surprising when people do come out or do something like that, that they do get a lot of acceptance out there. And even without the acceptance, even if everybody happened to reject you, which typically will never happen, it's such a relief to be able to be yourself.
It's a relief, but it can also manifest acceptance. It can
Right.
allow other people to accept themselves.
That's
Right.
what
I think
we're
that
here.
that was really fun to see. And it's like me being vulnerable. Like, vulnerability is power. You being vulnerable and talking those things is going to inspire and allow other people to want to try it out, maybe, you know, because, yeah, I mean, you don't trust anyone who hasn't done it, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I agree
Not
with
the
that.
experience.
Joe says, back to the watching. I actually heard someone ask a straight couple to watch. I found it creepy. It's not-
It's out
I mean,
there,
there's
but like
sites
it's
that
not
you can do it.
like it doesn't happen casually. Whereas like it happens casually so often. I'm just at the bar and some dude like if I'm at the bar with a chick and like we kiss or something and some dude's like,
Yeah,
hey,
it's like,
how
can
you
you
doing?
not?
It's like you
Yeah.
wouldn't have done that if I just kissed a man. Can
Right.
you get out of my face, please?
right.
Let me kiss who I want to kiss, and you can go over there and kiss who you want to kiss. If you'd like to ask educational questions, by all means.
No,
I'm gonna get
but
back
that's
to your
another
comment.
example. I just want to say really quick
Go
that
ahead, go
that's
ahead.
the perfect example of a man looking at a woman, deciding what he can get out of this woman with another
Right.
woman. Right?
Right.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Not cool.
very
Absolutely.
well put. Joe's follow-up, I mean, if people want to watch, that's why they make porn, so people can watch. In fairness, Joe, there are several couples out there that love the voyeurism aspect and want
Right.
people to watch
Yeah,
them and
there's
stuff.
people out there that literally
it's
get
not
paid
as weird.
to.
Yeah, it's not as weird of a situation as you think. It's just weird to us when people put it out openly. Because sometimes, believe it or not, if they're willing to ask at this point, they probably asked and succeeded in the past. I'm going to get it back to your comment, Cole Orton, but your comments bring up several issues of conversation. So I like to make sure we have space there so I don't back up. Hunter says, when she told your mom I was being like weird about it, so she assumed I was pregnant until I told her I was bi. She was like, oh, okay, I knew that. My mom, like, assumed because she caught me with a guy in bed that I was like gay, and this guy in bed, we didn't have sex, we didn't do anything, we were laying down watching a movie, and this was I was in my early teens. Now mind you, I had sex with other guys, she just never caught me, so of course I
That's not what she got.
right, but this one wasn't, and that's where she assumed, and I didn't say anything. Later I actually came over to her because I was also fearful, and explained, because for the good first half of my life I went with just the term I'm bi. 100%. And there wasn't all these options, I guess, to say, really. Like, yeah, I'm bi, I'll have sex with anybody, I don't care. And let's face it, when I want to fuck, I want to fuck. That's it. If I'm attracted to you, I want to have sex, I don't care who you are. But she was very, very good with it. But she's like, well, I mean, do you like being with a guy? I'm like, fuck yeah, I do. Like, there's no question in my head that I enjoy this. But she was very accepting. And it was a relief to me, too. But at the same time, it was harder because now every time I brought somebody over, that was the assumption. You know, you can't be. That's what people assume with me. If I invite somebody back from the bar, people who know me, because I'm very open about everything, they assume that's to fuck. Same with a woman. If I bring them back, they assume it's fuck. It's the same thing. But that makes people not want to go with you. Like, if you're just actually coming back to hang out, and I'm that weird person, I actually want to hang out after the bar because that's my break from work. I'm not bringing you back like everybody else being drunk. And it makes your friends fearful to go with you. But I'm going to go backwards.
Boys, what did you...
I'm not going to... Bill, you're not going to go see Elena. Oh, wait. Bill, hold on. Elena, tell me what bar you go to. I will dress as a chick. Bill, I want you to go to the Kit Kat Club. No, Elena's going to be at the Kit Kat Club, and you're going to be there dressed as a chick. I've got to see this.
I will be in town on the 24th, just saying.
This is a deep question, and I wanted to hit it up because Cole Orton asked, when you were growing up, was HIV still a concern for you? And I think it still is. I know that way back when HIV was discovered, they called it the gay disease because patient zero was a gay man, so people thought only gay people suffered from it. A lot of gay men did suffer from it, famous celebrities too. Would you say the stigma has disappeared in recent times? I personally don't think so. I just don't think it's talked about as much.
I see the prep commercials a lot on TV, and I think that says a lot.
That's a big step. That's huge.
I just got on prep myself, and that is an HIV preventive medication that is completely free. Like, it's amazing what they are doing, and what the gay clinics. I go to Howard Brown in Chicago, which is the free clinic specifically for queer LGBTQIA plus people, because generally those are the people who are scared to get tested. Those are the people who think that maybe doctors might do things to them. So yeah, and I also think growing up in the 90s, you see it in the media due to the anti-HIV and the scare. Faggot was used in kids' movies just as a fucking whatever. And, just like put it in my head that that's not what you want to be called. That's the nerd, or that's the this, or that's the that. And I think if you look at any of the comedies from the 90s, to be gay was the worst possible thing that you could possibly be.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
It was the butt of the joke, and that was directly out of the HIV pandemic, really, you could call it, right? And a pandemic that nearly this country did not do as much about, and that most of the country felt okay with watching all of these people die, and stigmatizing them. So our generation was born out of that,
right?
And this kind of acceptance of it being a joke. So I think that's why it was so hard for me to come out, just because it was all over. It was being represented on TV that way so easily, and you know what? It wasn't until like Schitt's Creek, Call Me by Your Name, these more queer movies coming out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I want that. And that really helped me kind of discover that. So it's amazing how much media really does take a part in stories and storytelling. Really, it matters.
Going back to the media part of that. Do any of you feel offended or stereotyped? Well, mainly Ryan, because it's usually not as bad for the females, but it can be also. Well, actually, females it can be because they're definitely stereotyped as the witch type. Do you feel offended by the things you see on TV? Definitely going probably pre-2010s.
Right. Well, you're asking just about movies about like
Yeah,
pre-2010?
were you ever personally affected by that?
Yeah, the movie Waiting. Have you ever seen that movie? It's about waiters at a terrible restaurant.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love that movie.
Yeah, no, watch it again. No, you don't.
I feel bad because I like
It's
You
it.
so
have
funny.
You have not seen it in a very long time.
Okay, I'll have to
Gail
watch it
Marie,
again.
I bet you have not. Yeah, watch it again, and you'll see that like that is the worst thing to be. Everyone's like, "Oh, gay, he's gay." And
Yeah.
it's just like that was the whole movie.
But that's
And
the
that
perfect
affected me.
example. When did stuff stop becoming still humorous? About that, Gail Marie, you liked the movie. It was humorous. They still did the same thing on there. And now is the point you watch it again and you're supposed to hate something you found funny at some point. Why is that? And the question is
Well-
actually to Ryan.
Yeah.
I would say it also has a lot to do with environment and with what something is. Depends on when it was.
Right.
Okay, how
But
old
does
I
it
was,
mean it's
what,
not
what
funny
time
anymore?
it was, post 9/11, whatever. It was like all of that. Completely
Well, like,
just
I-
ideal American and what American means to everybody.
Well, I think like a good example of this is I am behind on a lot of like movies and TV shows and trends, and so I'm rewatching How I Met Your Mother
Hello,
with my
reverse art.
fiance. And I love that show, but then I also see so many transphobic jokes and so many gay jokes and so many like things that were okay back then. But now, like, I'm not trying to be like a cancel culture, like, you can't watch it. Like, that's not the point. But it's just, it's remembering, like, where it came from and how we need to be better. And, like, in my honest opinion, again, I'm a gay, white, cisgendered woman, so I don't get, categorized in these shows as much. But I think representation and how they represent gay people and people in the rainbow, they're doing such a good job of not making it the main part of their character and just going through so many different kind of issues. So I think we've come a long way from where things used to be, and I think we can keep going. It's not done, but we've come a long way from the 90s, early 2000s.
See,
definitely.
now I want to get back to that. As soon as I read this comment, I want to get back and comment on that because I don't believe we have, but I'll explain in a minute. Reverse Art says he doesn't laugh at any gay humor anymore. I think homophobia has messed up my head, really. And, okay, just in response to this comment, before I go back to what we were talking about before, I do still find things funny. I find funny humor about being fat. I find funny humor about being blonde. I find funny humor about being black, Polish, whatever it happens to be, that there can still be comedy when it's not sent to be so offensive. There is a line of offensive comedy that it can be, but not everything is. But going back, follow up to Reverse Art. I don't know what's funny anymore, so lately been trying to fight online YouTube homophobia, which is heartbreaking. And homophobia is one of the biggest things. And social media has brought that up close front and center.
Right.
So bad. It's given people a freedom of expression, but at the same time, it's also allowed hate to waterfall in. Very badly.
Yeah.
My question, going back to the TV and movies, this is where I have an issue with that whole thing. 80s and 90s gay stereotypes were absolutely ridiculous. And they were offensive, and I agree with a lot of that. I didn't find everything funny when I say that, but I do believe there are some things that are humorous sometimes, because humor often has to be based on what you can relate to. And if you know people that are like that they are stereotyping, there is humor to be found there, in my opinion, with anything on there. Now, you have all these movies, and the stereotypes are really bad, and then Pride comes out, and now the gay community spends their time broadcasting the stereotypes they were against.
Well, let's be clear that Pride was a riot. Okay, Pride did not just come out of the closet as a...
Well, yeah, I
riot,
understand
right?
that.
So,
Yeah.
I think we should be clear that, Pride didn't just happen out of nothing. That was a big idea, right? That Pride... That was a riot. That was fucking fuck
Yes.
you. No, don't put me on that blacklist. I need a job. I need to live. I need love. Anybody fucking... I'm wearing a Smith shirt. Remember that song? Anyway, yeah, I think that... But yeah, after Pride, I'm sorry, I interrupted.
No,
Go
you're
on.
fine. That's what it's an open forum talking thing.
Yeah, I'm not sorry at all, actually. And but I think that those movies that you were bringing up, it wasn't
Absolutely
just
reverse
the superficial kind of tropes that gay people are. It was mainly the buddy calling the straight guy a queer, and how that was a big diss.
That
Right.
I
It
understand.
wasn't always about the characterization of the gay character, but more so how much of a diss it was to be called that as a
that
straight
to be,
person.
and I agree. There's not humor to be found, and that is something that I do believe has changed over the years. That should not be funny anymore when somebody just calls somebody gay because they see that as an insult. So I understand that point, and no, that's not humorous. But like I said, I've never understood the process that Pride, especially, and I do support Pride. Do not get me wrong, and I performed at Pride and stuff like that. So these are not based on my opinions, but they are blatantly shooting the stereotypes at people that they supposedly hate so much.
Because
They're
they take
not-
it back.
Well,
It
they're
hurts
not
the
shooting
communities.
anything. Like they're
Wait, what does that mean? Yeah.
they're trying to just be themselves because Pride is
They-
a celebration of
Well,
who they are, and
I know
like
guys who are gay who go all out to be somebody different, to be more flamboyant than they ever are.
Yeah.
and
Because
they,
of an
they have the
opportunity to do it.
they have the freedom
do
to
whatever
do
they want.
that.
But that, and
Like-
they absolutely can. But what I'm going back to is this the stuff that they condemn seeing in movies prior, when they were stereotyped to be that way, yet they're being that way.
Right, fine.
Why is
something
it
depends
offensive?
on when it is.
But why is
And-
it offensive? And I'm legitimately asking the question. I'm curious.
I think I just don't see the connection you're trying to make, Keith. Like, because are you saying that? Because I've heard that point of view, like a similar point of view, where they're wearing the speedos and they're like going all out and they're trying to flaunt it in our face. But I don't think that's the point of
I don't see it
Pride.
as flaunting in our face. I'm just saying the same people. Going back to him talking about the movies and TV, and you definitely covered it up.
Oh,
with
I see what you're saying.
the thing.
Yes.
That they were so stereotypical of the way they treated gays that they are not funny, they are not good anymore, and now people want to be that stereotypical person.
I got you, Keith. I got you. It's because also in the gay community, not is it only very patriarchal, but it is also very self-deprecating. And in any kind of gay performance, you are going to likely see a lot of self-deprecation in order to make the audience laugh. Okay?
And I can
I
respect
don't
that
like
100%.
that kind of humor. That I don't think that is funny. I know that you were saying that it can be healing, but ultimately I think that self-deprecating humor is very dangerous, and I think that it is much funnier to see how much we can love things and how much we can love
Yes.
ourselves. I think the show Broad City really did that for TV. If you ever saw that,
Yes.
which is a great, just like all about women and just women loving each other rather than women cutting each other down and being hilarious on Sex and the City or whatever. So yeah, I think that that's a thing.
I mean, that makes a little bit more sense, and I don't agree. I said I got a respect for the self-deprecating humor because I do the same thing, but it's not right.
Right.
And
Because
it is harmful, and it is hurtful.
It's harmful to, I mean, it's become so accepted as
Right.
because huge comedians that one probably ended up killing themselves because it is not a very happy time because comedy has always been on self-deprecation.
Right.
I also studied comedy at
Oh,
Second
okay.
City, IO, and Lawrence.
You went
all
to
of
second.
the- Yeah,
Sorry.
and it's a cult, unfortunately.
It's a moment.
You know what I mean? Like it's a cult. And
Yeah.
they try to teach you comedy in a very specific way. And it was
Yeah.
after that I realized, like, wow,
Have you ever heard of Chris Gethard, Ryan?
Maybe.
Okay, he's from Beautiful Anonymous. We'll talk later.
Okay, yeah, we can talk later.
Bill says nobody touched my friends, gay or straight. I am an old man, but I get across. And that's the way I've always been. One thing about anybody being at my house, and I actually was one who, long before Pride was a thing, that provided the safe space because I knew so many people that had so many different issues, and you were not allowed to do anything to make them feel like less of a person in any way. And if you did, you dealt with the fat guy who was stronger than any of you motherfuckers. But it made it a safe place that I would have so many people of every orientation come around, no matter who they were. I'd be at a party and I would have a guy like give me a lap dance on the couch in a party full of a combination of different people, and nobody was allowed to say a thing, but they did it. These were straight guys. that did this, but they knew they could, and it started to release. So I get that Pride is that good release, but I've never understood the stereo thing. You helped explain that, the stereotype thing, and I feel the same way about, and not to be offensive to anybody, the Black Lives Matter thing, whereas you're tired of being treated like criminals, so you riot as criminals.
Well,
I'm not saying that that's right or I agree with the movement. So please, I'm not here to defend that at all. But
Okay.
it's the same kind of scenario. I'm saying
It is. I
They
think
have
it
a
is-
reason.
Yeah. I think it is taking back the self-deprecating language that is
Yes.
being given to you and that you're grown up with and everything like that. So
That was a
although,
great way to put it.
yeah, maybe gay people are being more flamboyant on Pride because it's like, well, hey, I guess this is the one time for you to like see the show or whatever. And it's like I don't know, it's ultimately an exaggeration of one's any kind of celebration is going to be an exaggeration of one's
Well, absolutely.
identity and persona.
right.
So that's why we don't have a straight parade, because we don't know what the exaggeration of
Well,
straight
we shouldn't
is.
have a straight parade
Because it's
straight
not
is
a
already
thing.
fucking accepted.
It would be
Yeah.
so boring.
Yeah.
Stupid.
It'd be so boring.
It would be boring as fuck.
It would be so boring.
Be really
Oh
boring.
my god.
I don't know what you mean, Bill. Woman that just came out doesn't.
Do you just
understand
mean
everything.
me, Bill?
I don't know if
just
he's
came
referring
out.
to you or somebody else.
Came out, doesn't
On the-
understand
understand
everything.
No one
everything.
understands everything. That's
Well,
totally fine.
I'm trying to learn.
Cole Orton says the film Chuck and
Right.
Larry also did a good job portraying several issues of being gay. Do you
Yeah.
feel that way?
Chuck and Larry, that was a funny.
You know what I
movie.
felt? I was the little boy that did the splits in front of everybody. I felt like that was the best part of Chuck and Larry. I think we're
I'll
getting
have to
better.
rewatch it.
Yeah, no, there's a little boy who's like, look what I can do. It just does the splits.
Yeah.
And I would do that to like any of my like older sister's friends. I would hide behind the couch and then sneak out and do the splits to get attention.
Thank
But
you,
other than
Reverse Art.
that, no, I think that we're also getting into a when it comes to actors playing roles, we're hearing a lot
gosh.
about, right? We're hearing a lot about like people. Maybe it's not all about, because I also went to theater school, so I am an actor. I'm a rock star. I'm an actor.
Can
I'm
I just
whatever.
fangirl over
We already
Ryan
had
right
this
now?
conversation before the show.
just
I'm the
gonna-
rock star on here.
Yeah, I'm a total rock star. And see how funny this is because I love myself so much.
Not
See
as
how
much
funny
as I
it can
love
be?
myself. Come on.
Right.
Do
Like,
not
whatever.
steal my thunder.
But no, I want to just kind of like go on a tangent here, because going through theater school as a closeted person, in college, theater college, in the middle of downtown Chicago as a closeted person was very interesting. Teachers
Yeah.
were like, have you ever been in love before? So I could like never do love scenes. There
Yeah.
were certain things that I just was not in tune to, which was very interesting. And I think that now we're seeing like it's not just like, oh, you're an actor, you can do whatever because you're an actor.
Right.
We're seeing that now it's much more interesting, and people are getting cast as in the industry. You are seeing people get cast as who they are already, not
Which
who
is a
they can
huge
be.
deal.
Which is
Yeah.
a huge shift in the industry and in how audiences watch stories and how they take in stories.
Yes.
And like I said, I'm a story whore. Like that's like, so
Yeah.
I really find that important to see that.
Reverse
And
Art
we're
says,
going to see more of it.
going back to the idea of the straight parade instead of toxic Mexican
Oh,
parade.
gosh.
Totally. And he also says you're all rock stars.
Thank you,
We
Reverse
are.
Yes, Art.
are.
But so
Yeah.
are you guys, so I appreciate that.
With my little.
Bill's watching
Parade
the Andy
pin.
Griffith show, so everybody knows. Jan says,
show.
in the Bible, love one another, no gender mentioned. I'm going to
Yep.
hit back to the movie I mentioned earlier that you haven't seen, Watch the Prom. It is a musical akin to the Hairspray. That style movie, not as good as Hairspray. Hairspray
I
rocks.
love Hairspray. Oh my god.
Right, but it's a really
Oh,
good
John
movie.
Waters.
And James Corden got panned for being in there for playing the gay guy. And I actually thought, in my personal opinion, watching, I know most gay guys act the way he did. I'm like, I thought he nailed it. And honestly, I thought James Corden was gay. Like, even on his show, I always thought he
Well,
was.
Well,
Well, he
and like
wasn't.
Ryan was talking about, like, it's more about, like, you know, this is also with, like, autism, with people who are trans, with people, like, the communities want to see not a cis person trying to play a trans person, but, like, there are trans actors out there, and there are people with autism out there that are actors, and so
Right.
I think it's more about, like, they feel like it's a more genuine performance, or they feel like it's, you know, a better I don't know how to put it, but it's just it
Give
means
someone
more
who
if it
But
comes.
what
experiences
is
that
acting?
job.
But
It's
what
a hel-
is acting?
I'll tell you what, it's a healthier experience and it's a healthier performance.
Right.
Like I said before, we've seen a lot of our famous stars, and favorite stars, just die and
Right.
kill themselves or get in terrible addictions, and when they lose themselves in that way too. And it's due to the public seeing them as not who they are, but everything else that they can do. And so it's great to also see depictions, and likely because they're getting a lot of backlash for playing what they're not, right?
Yeah.
From the communities that they are striving to, that it's their job to be.
I
And
think
it's that's actually very detrimental to the communities many times. And the big one was with Sia's movie, right? Because
Oh,
it's
I
almost
will
like
throw something. Sorry. Keep
it's a
going.
caricature of what it is like to be autistic, and it was really all about James Corden. That's his name, James Corden.
James Corden.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan, clearly.
I wasn't either, but he was. I thought he was good in the role.
But
He's
the
a
big
good
thing,
singer.
Well, it was when he was talking about, it was his breakdown role, right? And the one thing was his hands, is how his hands did this. And it was just like, and it was like, it was the moment he was going through his trauma, was just like such an exaggerated caricature of what it would be like for a gay man to go through their trauma. And like you said, a lot of people who could do that. So why not cast any of those people who can do
Because
that?
they're not good actors.
No,
that's
they
my
probably
honest
are.
opinion.
Well, maybe not your friends, but like they're out there. You know what I mean?
I mean, I could have played Eddie Murphy in a fat suit a lot better than Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy could in The Nutty Professor, but I don't have the acting chops he did. It was funny because of him.
Well, that
You know,
also
it's-
has, yeah. Well, yeah, for sure. But I
think-
think that he was also coming from a very black experience and playing everybody in his family. He was
Yeah.
trying to depict what it's like to be a black family in
But
America.
that's not the only example of it. I mean, I could have definitely played Fat Bastard better than Mike Myers on that. But
Yeah.
I think there's something said for acting chops, but this is my personal opinion on it, that I do think if you have the opportunity to cast that role, yes, you should in a sense. But at the same time, you want people to see your movie. There's people, because of the way society is, and they're so divided, and they're so hateful to this generation, if you don't put certain star names exposing that, people aren't going to see that movie to see that side. I didn't actually hear about the hand thing like that with the glasses. I didn't hear about any of that.
Oh, well, you saw it.
He did it, but I know I did it, but I didn't know that was something
No
that
one
was
wrote about
offensive.
it. That's just my original feeling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm not. That's not cited from anything.
But that was my thing, is he was good. And you put the name stars so people watch it, and I thought the movie was actually very good and a good thing for people who are not associated or not understanding that community, kind of an entryway to it. It's something you don't have to watch it. Because if you come out with a movie like that, because society sucks balls, and you say, yeah, we've got a gay actor doing this and a trans girl doing this, and we got this one doing this, and an autistic girl, the majority of your people are not going to see that movie. Your
Do you know
message
how
is
much-
not going to get out.
Do you know how much hatred Sia got for her movie?
Yeah.
Have you looked into that? I mean, it was her. I personally refused to watch anything about it because it was so hateful
Yeah.
towards the autistic community. And I get what you're saying about that having the right actors sells your movie. But do you have Disney Plus, Keith? Do you watch anything from Disney Plus? Do you have that subscription?
I don't watch a lot, but
Okay, so there's I'm a Disney nerd, so of course I have Disney Plus. But they do a lot of animated shorts, right? That's something that they're kind of known for, and it's Disney, so this is not the best example because they already have so much money that it's ridiculous. But they had this autistic girl in a short called Float, and so it was very it was 2 or 3 minutes long. It was all animated, and it was this story about a girl with autism and her classmate and trying to understand each other. The actor was autistic. The director
movie, yeah.
was autistic. And so it was what I'm saying is this whole thing of well, there's not good actors out there that have the chops, and you can do it. It can happen.
It could be done, yeah.
You can have good representation. I think that's really important. Not only a good thing that's fun to watch, but having that accurate representation.
But using the movie because it's the most rated one as an example, not everybody has to do that role, I don't think, because it is Hollywood, it is actors. They did have a trans girl playing the lead, an actual trans girl playing the lead in that movie. So they didn't say shit about her, they just, panned Corden.
Well, because I don't like him. Like, a lot of people don't.
And
like
I mean,
him.
I'm not a huge fan of him either. I
So,
thought he did a good job
I
in the
just don't like
movie.
him.
But and that's what I'm talking about. You still have the roles being filled, but not every role, I don't think, in Hollywood for movies has to be filled, because then you're not even acting anymore, in a sense.
You definitely are acting. I would say that
They are.
acting is ultimately an expression of yourself.
Dustin
When
Hoff-
I was in theater school, I was cast mainly as old men. Because I guess they looked at me like, he's sexually over it. He's more like an old man. Because I was so in the closet, I couldn't fall in love. Like I said, like they were like, cast him as the old man, the old Southern man. And that's what I did. And that didn't help me in my career at all, playing so far away from myself. That did not help me get jobs afterwards. You know what I
It
mean?
helps the movie.
Had I been given more parts that were closer to me, or had I accepted myself more, and in America, also, we don't have a lot of American playwrights. American theaters do all British plays because America can barely stand the shit that America has to say about itself, which is a
So true.
real thing. Okay? So, yeah, I just think that people should start playing closer to yourself is still acting.
It's
And
not wrong
It's still acting.
to do that or want it, but it's also, I don't think, wrong to take the job and act the part as well.
With capitalism.
Yeah, it is. That is capitalism.
You know, yeah, that's what you
but-
said. You're like, they're casting specific people for very
Well, they are, because they
specific
want to sell the
reasons.
movie. I mean,
Yeah.
they've
Which
got-
comes down to capitalism and making
Yeah, I
money.
said it is capitalism. That is
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, and coming from Disney, we know all about it.
I know.
Truth
You know,
there.
it's like it's everywhere. You can't get away from it.
Reverse
Yeah.
Art says, I've been wondering lately how we can all stand together as one LGBTQ plus stronger and all look out for each other better. I know we have Pride, and there are some great companies like Stonewall. The problem with Pride and the problem with all this other stuff is it doesn't happen regularly. It's a once-a-year thing. It separates itself from the world. And what you said is what we got to do is we have to... It's not the gay people's fault. It's not the gay community's fault to a point. Some of them I do think go overboard too, but I think that's with every single group of people. There are limits that they should do. But the only way for that to happen is to literally stand together as one constantly and stop the hate bashing and stop the words and stop. We're all going to make mistakes. We all grew up sometimes in different times. We're going to say words that are back to our history out of just habit. Correct, don't hate. Point out if you want. Don't dislike. And that was where I was going with the movie thing too. Like, you can point it, but don't hate somebody for doing what they've been doing for 30-some years.
Right.
You know,
I
And
think that's a
what
big
gets caught.
distinction. That's a big distinction to make. Is because I can still like the movie and not like specific elements of the
Right.
storytelling.
Correct.
And understand that this is dangerous storytelling. I still enjoyed the movie, but so the fuck what? We can do better, and hopefully if I make anything in the future, I am doing better.
Earlier today, Reverse Art also says he watched a trans woman talking to the parents of gay children preaching God and almost worked against the LGBTQ plus community. And that we talked about that a little earlier. I don't know how long you were on this, Reverse Art, but we had talked earlier about this. Some of the things that they're doing are hurting the community, especially when it comes to religion. We hit that up. We caught the extent that, and it is hurting it. And the reason it's hurting it is not because of the LGBT community mostly. It's because how others are viewing it. It's how others are looking at it. And they're seeing it. Any thoughts on that one?
Well, I'm a little confused at how Reverse Art, if you could clarify, it was saying that someone who is trans was preaching God, but also against the trans community to children. I guess I just don't understand what he's trying to
I
say.
think they're saying that because the trans person was talking about God, they were thus talking against the LGBTQ community.
I guess I
as
just
if
don't
God
understand.
and LGBTQ are
Yeah.
No, they
separate
probably
and
weren't,
opposite things.
But
Which
because
they are not.
had them. Right.
Yeah.
And I think
Because being whatever a queer person is not a monetized thing. You cannot say, oh, they're part of that community, so that's what they're like. No.
all right. We're
It's
definitely
it's not
running low.
just it's just not the community. Go on, sorry.
No, I think you nailed it, what he was talking about. We're definitely
Yeah.
running low on time. This is running. I stand up for all LGBTQ plus rights, still learning, of course. And what you just said right now is something important that everybody should really pay attention to, because we are all still learning.
Yeah.
And this works on both sides, because not only are you still learning, other people have to respect that others are still learning. They are trying. They are trying to get into a better world, but they are not brought up that way. They didn't grow up in the same world. None of us grew up in the same world on this panel. I think we've got like almost a decade between everybody on this panel some way or another. A couple decades between a few of us. We didn't grow up in the same world, but we're trying to adjust it. You were born here. You grew up with this world around you. We were born before. We're trying to relate and change our lives. And believe me, those people in their 20s right now in the world around you, you're going to be learning in 40 years about something else that's bullshit that comes out. You know, that isn't allowed, and the things we're doing right now are not allowed. When I say something else that's bullshit, I'm talking about something we're doing every day right now.
Yeah, but that is
they're
likely
gonna call
seen
that.
as bullshit to the majority of the population.
In 20 years, it will be, exactly.
Right.
And not allowed. And it's going to continue to happen. We are all learning. Don't stop learning.
Yeah.
There's a lot more. That was probably one of my favorite comments. And to admit you're still learning, of course, because so am I. So is Ryan, Elena, Linny, Gail Marie. Everybody on here is still learning. There's a lot of education to be had.
I want to say that I read a great book. Speaking of learning, we may as well like push some books.
All right,
Do
let's
it.
Because Bell Hooks changed my life. And it's called
To
The
Change.
Will to Change. Men, Masculinity, and Love. And reading that book like really changed my life on how I look at gender and how I looked at how I grew up. And I think everybody should read that.
Absolutely, Jan, 67 and still learning. You won't stop. If you do stop, well, then you're going to
That's
be a
a
lesser
problem.
person than anyone else.
That's
Yeah,
that's a big problem.
I'm still learning shit. Now I'm perfect in every way and know absolutely everything. The only the only facts I learn are new facts. I'm like, they weren't there earlier when I knew everything. Reverse Art says he's a gay man. Really love what you all to say. I was a little late. Well, we're glad to have you on here.
Thanks for coming, Reverse Art.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're here.
I like that name.
I know it sounds like some like art district in like New York or something.
I love that. Oh, I want to introduce you to Time Baby. Can I introduce you?
All right, let's
I'm in a
Okay.
band as well, and this is Scott.
That's
This is-
so
this is
cool.
Time Baby.
Is that the name of your band?
Yeah,
I love it.
it's always a good time, baby.
So,
And yeah, and we have a new EP coming out hopefully in the next month. So follow
so
us.
Ryan, do you play an instrument?
I write the songs on guitar, but my partner plays the instruments,
Nice.
and I sing. I'm more of the singer.
Okay, see, now Ryan and I are just going to have like
All
a
right.
3-hour
We're
conversation.
having a good time.
There's a lot to go through. I love that, Elena, your entire name's been at the bottom of the screen the whole time. You know that? So,
I know. My last name's Ryan.
I know. So it's
Oh, that's funny. Oh
You know,
my
I'm glad that I can
gosh.
finally.
all right, so we're going to hit up Lenny's initial
someone.
topic before we close out the show, and we'll go around here. Male and female celebrity you'd fuck. Let's hear it.
Oh my gosh.
We're going to
Male
start
and
with
female.
Lenny.
Oh, then
You got to
wait.
name one of each if you had to.
Oh, then I would male and
Jeez.
female.
You brought it up. You brought it up. So
Okay,
you get
well,
to start it.
Oh boy. Oh, if anyone else has theirs in their head right away, go for it, because I gotta think on that one.
See, you brought it up like you wanted to know everything, and you don't even have an answer. You brought it up an hour and a half ago.
I know.
You know what? I did just watch The Bodyguard, and the crush that I have right now kind of looks like Kevin Costner. And I'm like, Kevin Costner, Bodyguard, like save me, split me in half, do whatever you
Yes.
want. Like, no, for real. And then, but a woman, I would say, the woman that I loved growing up was Sandra Bullock. That's the woman who I wanted to be. You
Yes.
know?
There you go.
And also, like, wanted to be my girlfriend because then we would also be best friends. But I don't know if I have I don't know if I have a girl. I have to
Well,
think about it.
Yeah, Rachel Maddow would
We
be the
got
woman.
yeah.
I already have the woman. And as for a dude, oh boy.
That's the hard one for you?
And you call yourself straight.
Right.
Come on.
Well,
Join us, Lenny.
Come to the
Join
colored
to the
side,
dark
the
side.
rainbow colored side.
I'm
Yes.
I'm very
Rainbow.
attracted to incredibly intelligent people. Like, so it's not like most of them aren't actors.
So you show Stephen Hawking
Right.
right.
Seriously, no, yeah. I'd have to really think on that one.
All right, you keep thinking. We got your woman. What about you, Elena?
Woman, I have like 10 women, but probably like Lana Del Rey
Wow.
for show.
That was yours. Yep.
Love
Yes.
her. The only man that comes to mind is Ryan Reynolds.
There you
He's
go.
hilarious.
Yeah.
And he has
Yeah.
a really hot wife.
Hey.
There you go.
And like you don't want to ask, can I watch you have sex?
Oh my gosh. So I'll go with mine so I can give Ling a little bit more time. So I am a theater nerd through and through because that's just who I've been for a long time. So if I would have to fuck a dude, it would be Jeremy Jordan. No one probably even knows who that is, and that's okay.
I know Jeremy
He's
Jordan. He was on
he's
Smash. He was on Glee.
like-
He was on Supergirl.
amazing. He's one of my favorite people in the entire world. He did a little concert of like a song that he wrote for himself, and he has anxiety and stuff like that. So he's like one of my favorite people. And then I'm trying to think of her name. She was on the James Corden show and did that, like they did songs together. And I'm trying to think of, she's in Pitch Perfect.
Yeah, Kendrick.
Anna Kendrick.
Anna Kendrick?
I couldn't think of her name. My fiance had to tell me. I forgot.
Anna Kendrick's great.
would be my
The Chicago
lady.
gal. Isn't she?
I'm not
I don't
sure.
know.
I don't
I have
know.
no
But
idea.
she's adorable. So
You got one yet, Lenny?
Nope.
Keith, your turn.
Oh, I have
I
two for
don't.
each one.
Bill, you
Michelle
gotta
Pfeiffer's
go.
my all-time girl. Michelle Pfeiffer is my all-time
Oh,
girl,
that's
period.
hot.
There you go.
But I think Queen Latifah would rock my fucking world.
Okay.
Oh, I love
Without
her.
question, Queen Latifah would rock
Do
my
it.
world. Guys, Josh Hartnett and Mark Paul Gosselaar, actually.
I have a
Okay.
little.
Paul for
I
sure.
did not trim my eyebrow. I have one of the harsh. Do you see it?
Oh, boy, do I, Ryan.
It's a unibrow. I didn't trim it today. Is all I'm saying.
Hold on, let me see it.
It's-
Let me see it. Let me see it. There we go.
Is it-
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, you see a little peach fuzz is coming back.
Yeah, see, I do, Ryan. We're good. Okay.
I need the attention. Thank you.
Bill, you've got a guy right in front of you. Or Lenny, Bill says his IQ is 171, so there you go.
There you go.
Bill.
He's basically a celebrity at this point from this show.
He absolutely
Yeah.
is.
He's like the main person.
He is our little celebrity. We love you, Bill. Absolutely. We love everybody on here. I mean, you've heard so much from everybody on here. It was amazing. Being gay, being straight, being transgender, bisexual, whatever you want to call it, being yourself is not a crime. It is normal. It is what everybody should accept and everybody should be allowed to do openly. When you're around your friends and you're constantly joking because you think it's cool, you are hurting those people you love that you call your friends continuously. When you're using slurs, whether they be ethnic slurs, sexuality, or anything like that, you are hurting people around you that don't have the same beliefs as you, and they would kill to have a friend they could talk to you, especially if that friend was you. They want to come out, they want to be themselves, but you don't make it easy for them. And mostly, you don't make it easy for them because you're a stubborn little bitch who can't come out himself and can't talk about it yourself, and because you're afraid. So you need to stop doing that. You need to accept people who they are. It's their fucking life, it's not yours. If you don't want to hang around with a gay person, then go your own fucking way because they don't want to hang around with you. But most of us don't feel that way. We think we're being funny, and I'm equally guilty of this. I make jokes all the time, and I don't always take other people's feelings into effect. But you know what? I take a minute to go back and talk to them. And try to make them understand that I still love them. Because that's the one thing we were asked by Reverse Art, how do we get along? We love one another. Yeah. We don't care. We don't judge. We don't hate. And more importantly, we stay away from the hate. Because you can't stop it. You can't stop the hate right now. You can educate, you can teach, but some people are old, stubborn-ass, old white bitches who is not going to see anything except for the godlike way, as they call it, or the way of the past. They can't advance. They can't learn anything new, but you can. It's up to you to change it. Be nice to one another. Accept people for who they are. Love one another. Everybody is important. a reminder, we only touched on it briefly, and I thought we would a lot more. Suicides and depression, very true, at its highest when you have a sexual conflict or any kind of disability sometimes. But a sexual conflict is one of the biggest ones. And the more you joke with your friends and the more you make people feel out of place where they can't come out and be themselves, the more likely it's going to be that you may not have that friend around you for much longer because you didn't take a moment to find out who they really are, to let them be themselves and be free. We're not going to like everything, but the one thing we can like is each other. Quoting the movie that everybody panned earlier, love thy neighbor. Quoting the Bible, love thy neighbor. It's in there, and it trumps everything else out there. I am Keith Living for Ear, Shoulder, Voice. Today's topic was, of course, growing up gay. If you didn't actually know what we were actually talking about, it's about growing up gay. So, and more so the community and how we all handle it, and we all handle it differently. I mean, I'm the kind of person that if I'm with a guy, I'm a fucking gay male, and I'm proud of it in every way. And if I'm with a girl, I'm a straight male, and I'm proud of it in every way because of the way I feel. But no, if I'm dating a guy, and I'm eventually going to marry that guy, I'm a gay male for the rest of my life. That is the choice, not my desire and what I like, because I still like both. But it's respect for who I am and who they are, that they get to be themselves and you don't have to hide. And neither do I. Linny, my sweetheart, my sunshine, my most beautiful woman out there. Oh, I love you so much. Why no Wizard of Oz?
Why no Wizard of Oz?
Come on.
Like literally over the rainbow. It was
gonna,
perfect time to bring it up. It's the one time you didn't.
I was gonna say for the person that I would have had sex with would have been Oz.
There you go.
Oz,
You played
the great
like
and
8
powerful.
characters.
The great and powerful.
Is that because it's like an airplane bathroom behind the curtain in that little cubicle booth?
Yeah, there we go.
You've been great on here. I love the questions you have and stuff like that. I love that you're open about everything. And you're one of the few people that can really spread the news about how to be who you are and be happy with it. And that people shouldn't judge you because you do love everybody. And I think that's the most important thing that anybody can do. It's the one thing that doesn't really cost you anything.
I know.
No pain, no suffering,
right.
no nothing. If anything, it's going to give you a better life to live. I appreciate you always being here to show people that.
Thank you.
Gail Maria, I know you have had a hell of a week this week.
Yeah.
You really have. And I think you are one of the strongest people I've seen in a while. For what you did yesterday, you came out online, you talked to your parents, things are it's about time. And I'm so glad you finally made that decision because other people will go their entire lives and not make that decision. You are an inspiration to them, and I hope they see your post, and I hope they watch this video and they realize they can do it too, and they will be happy because we can all laugh and we can all be who we are. You just got to take that moment to do it. Thank you for being such a great inspiration
Thank you, Keith.
to everybody. Ryan.
Ryan.
My rock star competition. You think you're all that coming on my show talking about how great you are.
Let's see.
Well, let me tell you something, Ryan. You are fucking all that. You are amazing.
Thank you.
You deserve to be here. If I have competition, I'm glad it's you.
Yeah.
All right. Because you own who you are, and obviously it wasn't easy for you, and you've got one of the things that a lot of people don't deal with. You really didn't know where you belonged for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where people really get trapped, and sometimes they make the choice to belong to a certain group because it's what they feel is the right thing to do. But you didn't. You explored, you learned, you said, I am who I am, and fuck you, and by the way, I love that fucking shirt.
Nah. Thanks.
That's like my style shirt. I fucking
Yeah.
love it.
It's Anna Nicole Smith on the bottom too.
Oh, I wasn't looking at that. I was talking about the colorful one.
I
Yeah.
know.
I was like, I love that.
I'm bringing up my layers is all.
Well, your layers run deep, and I'm very glad for that because we've learned so much from you, and it's good to get a perspective from people who actually go through this on a regular basis. And you're relatively new to this. Can I ask? We didn't even ask. How old are you?
Ryan?
Ryan.
I'm 30.
Ryan, like, is there somebody else named Ryan that I could be talking to?
Well, I don't
30,
know. I'm
okay.
like, I'm just like, yeah, I'll be 31 in August.
All right, so definitely this is new, and you are what people need to see. And the further you go, you're happy, you're excited, you love it, you stand up for what you believe in, but Look at that smile.
Oh, thank you for noticing.
No, I mean that. Even
Look
talking
at the
about
eyes
this.
too.
Okay, I'm done talking to you. I was going to say one more line about you're still happy no matter what you're talking about.
I'm sorry.
But you've got to steal the thunder.
Yeah.
So, bye. Just kidding. I wouldn't really do that to you. I wouldn't really do that to you. All right.
Oh my god.
No, you were great. I loved
Thank
hearing
you.
everything you had to
It was
say. And
really
Elena, what you brought up was a great example. I never knew that about you. You popped in last minute and you said that, can I be on the show? I'm like, yeah, you can be on. That would be great. We actually need somebody. We had somebody else scheduled. They had to drop out. This is a very hard topic for people to talk about, so we understand if people can't do it. And I learned something new. Because you know what? I, like every other idiot out there, judge books by their fucking cover. And we're all guilty of that. Every one of us on this panel and everybody out there, we judge books by the cover. We may take time to actually... sorry, I just got a note shown at me. We may actually... God, you distracted me. I was all doing good. We do that, but we take the time to learn who that person is. Other people do not. They judge by the cover, and they leave it alone. That's why it's important for people to speak up and talk about things. Elena, thank you for doing that. I didn't know that about you. Can I watch?
No.
Okay. I'm just kidding. I just said that for Bill's sake. I thought Bill might like that. But no, I don't want to watch anybody have, really, and honestly, I don't want to watch anybody have sex, but it is part of my joking thing because I think sex is funny. I don't care. If you ever watch people's faces and what they do, it's funny shit.
It's so weird.
People look stupid. But anyway, Elena, great to have you. I know you're engaged. I look forward to that. And I'm sure... I have to ask you, because we talked about that. Has Brandon... I'm sorry, well, you've mentioned his name before. Has Brandon ever mentioned those lines to you? But I want to watch the bisexual thing? Does he have an
a couple
appeal
of
to that?
times, and I'm like, no. Not a thing in our relationship.
That's good. Go you. All right. Well, congratulations on that, Elena. I was really happy to have you on here.
Thank you.
As always, are... I love our panels because they're always smiling. They're always amazing. Don't forget to like, share, follow, and subscribe to Your Shoulder Voice on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. We're on all those. You can watch the shows live chat during them. We'll comment to everything that comes in, so don't forget to do that. But not only can you do that, people forget, at Your Shoulder Voice, you can talk to us anytime you want. Simply by going to Facebook Messenger and messaging us. You can remain anonymous if you go to our website, yourshouldervoice.com, and message us from that, and we can still live chat with you, and you can remain anonymous. So if you need somebody to talk to about anything, feel free to contact us. However, if it is a life-threatening emergency, please do seek a better source that is more equipped to help you, because we are real, regular people out there. But we like to think we know what you're going through, and we like to think if we don't, we can learn from that. So always feel free to reach out for us. Coming up on Sunday is our next open forum show where we talk about anything you want to talk about, which is always a good time on there. Open forums are great. It can be anything. It can be boring, it can be fun, it can be really deep. We never know what's going to happen on that, so we'll see you on that. And coming up on the following Wednesday, Living Week to Week, the Financial Struggle. We're going to be discussing how people who are living paycheck to paycheck, especially in these times where it's really hard, people are going broke, how they get by, what do they do, what are the shortcuts they take, does it lead to depression, do they want to give up, or do they have strength to push further and make it? We'll be talking about all that on the next show. So enjoy that. Thank you again for joining us here at Your Shoulder Voice. You have all been fantastic. Big thanks to everybody in the chat. This show does not exist without you. You made it. So you all have a great night, and we'll see you later here at Your Shoulder Voice. Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, Keith Lippin here for Ear Shoulder Voice. While you're here, why don't you like, share, subscribe, and follow so you can be notified of all our new broadcasts that we're bringing to you live every week and live chat during the show. You can also head on over to www.earshouldervoice.com, find out more information, suggest topics you'd like to see our panel discuss, and even apply to be a guest panelist yourself. Well, that ran for a while. That was
Oh
That
man,
was fun.
that was so fun.
I forgot to say so many things too.
Oh, I
Oh, I
had so
always
many
do
things
that.
I wanted to say.
Oh my
Well,
gosh.
There's not the same time we hit the topics. I mean, we're not repeating a lot for the first year of our show. We're only a few months in. We're about 6 months into our show. So, but we'll eventually be repeating and hitting deeper aspects of topics. They're more general right now, but they're going to start spreading out
Oh, good.
more and more. Well, you were great. You were
That
great
was
on
fun.
here.
Oh, I had a
Definitely
great time
talk.
with y'all. This is my first time ever doing this, but I felt so at home. I haven't performed in so long. This was like the first time doing anything
Oh,
like
we
that.
allow performances. We should have had you perform.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we
maybe
do.
Next time.
We'll do a
That'd be
duet.
fun. We'll do a duet, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll rehearse. We'll even
Yes.
rehearse something for you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That'd be
Before we
great.
left, of course, Reverse Art said thank you all so much, keeping amazing
Aw.
people.
Reverse Art, we're so glad you came in and
So glad
did
you
some
were on
comments and watched. We loved you coming in and doing all
Thank you
that.
very much.
I love
and
that
he
name.
complimented me too. So, I'm the host with the most.
Bye.
Bye.
Dang.
And
So-
hi from Joe. You're late.
Hi, Joseph.
Ryan, what kind of music do you sing? Like, what's your genre that you like to sing?
You know what? I love this question because it also goes back to gender. I feel like
Uh-huh.
genre and gender are the same thing. And it's like, stop trying to gender my music. I don't know. But it's probably like a folk pop kind of thing. It's very acoustic. We started out as a duo. So just, and she's
Nice.
she's woman, I'm man. We're both pretty queer. And so it's all about like that guitar and the harmonies.
Nice.
Right.
I love
So
that
feel-
kind
so
of thing.
Yeah, it's more folky, but it gets a little punky, it gets a little poppy, it gets a little. It depends on the story that we're telling, which each song is a different story. You know, so I like to try to keep it. I listen to everything, so I hope that it would never be. Like all of our songs could never fit into one thing.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
cool.
I love it.
Bless you.
I like that. I don't
Yeah.
like the competition still, but yeah.
You'll have to perform. You guys will have to perform live on one of the shows. I think
we'd
it'd
love
be
to.
fun.
Yeah,
That'd be
we'd love
awesome.
to.
Yeah, that'd be
That'd be
really
so
cool.
cool.
We'd love
I'd
to
love
have
that.
you on here doing that.
Yeah.
We'd love to have you on any show. Actually, you were really good. You talked a lot. I know you were informed. The thing about this show is once you're a panelist, you become hooked.
Oh well, I
Yep.
feel the vibe. It's like
I was like,
it's like it feels really nice just to kind of talk to people about things because I've always been a very or at least tried to be a very, like I said, transparent person. I like to talk about those things, so it's
Well, and it helps. It helps other people that are
helps.
watching.
very
Yeah.
much so.
Yeah.
Constantly, and Elena got hooked into this, and she's our. I love you, Elena.
Elena's
Uh,
Wait,
great.
it was so much fun to talk to you guys.
Gail Marie is. You guys are all. We had
Y'all
a
are great.
great panel tonight too, and it was a great conversation. So you guys are absolutely amazing. Love you
Yeah.
all.